Welcome back to another episode of the Adventure Athletes podcast. Now, this is the last of the 3 bonus episodes I'm putting out, and you'll understand why when I mention the guest. So this guest has just got back after doing his unstable slam and then heading out to Canada to complete the Divide 200-mile race. It's obviously Dan Morgan, aka Plod. I love having Plod on the podcast. I first met him through the podcast and I'd heard his name about in the Pegasus community, and he is as much of a legend as people say, even though he hates being called a legend. He is one of the most inspiring people I've ever met. He is one of my best friends, and yeah, just getting to hear the stories and the experiences that he's had is just, it's amazing. I loved listening to him. I loved catching up about it. I hadn't actually, despite seeing him a few times, I hadn't asked him anything about the Divide because I knew he was coming back on the podcast, so I saved everything for the podcast. I don't think Dan needs any more of an introduction than that, so I'm just going to be talking about Sport in Mind. So I am an ambassador for Sport in Mind. We are doing a big group fundraiser where we're spending the year trying to get as many people to donate and fundraise for that one singular fundraiser as possible. My 300-mile races in a week is all going towards that fundraiser. I don't want to keep it separate at all. All of my clients and their challenges that they're fundraising, they're all going into that big fundraiser. It's a big Adventure Athletes group fundraiser. If you want to get involved with that, please drop me a message, set a challenge, and then the fundraising can all go towards the same total, and we're going to see how much we can raise in 1 year. I've been very ambitious with setting the goal. I'd love to raise £100,000 for charity. That is something that I've always wanted to do, and this seems like the best way to do it, if I'm honest. I'm going to play a quick video about Sport in Mind so you can see what they're all about.
Sport has the power to change lives. Sport is more than exercise. It's motivation. It's purpose. It's possibility. A reminder, you are not alone. We are Sport in Mind. We understand what it's like to feel disconnected. That's why we create spaces to support mental health. We meet people where they are and use sport to help them find their way back. Every step, every pass, every moment shared builds something stronger. A community. Friendship. A force for good. We are made to move, to feel, to breathe, to connect. Sport drives us, but it's people who inspire us. Every day, every week, they get back up. They keep showing up. They never give in. The strength that lives in all of us. So join us. Stand with us. Because when it comes to mental health, sport is the answer.
Finally, sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast, guys. So let's start it off by just going for a overview of the past year, because last time you came on, like, the title of the podcast is Why I'm Running a Ultra Marathon Round a Roundabout.
Yeah. I don't think I'd finished the slam at that point either. I was just about to do the last race.
He's just about to do, Ridham.
Yeah. and then we got absolutely hammered on the rhythm. I wore a pink tux, like I told you we were going. I think I told you on the episode I was going to do that, and then yeah, that was messy. And then Kev was not well on that. We got him through, so that was a bit of a feisty race. And then I did my roundabout ultra, which was easy. It was fine. And then we started building up for 2025. And how did that go down? Well, I thought we were going to do. There was talk of there being another wild horse, so that was the plan. And then Reese said that's not going to happen. But how about you come over and race in Canada with me? And yeah, that's how I got to you today. So, yeah, Canada. Are we on record? Yeah.
Yeah, we are. I'm just going to double check my mics because I had a bit of an issue earlier.
You don't edit these either, do you?
I don't know, so like this is all staying in.
Oh, no, sorry, dear listeners, viewers at home. So yeah, the divide. So Chris Allen, the guy who does all the artwork for Pegasus, he had done it in 2024, and I'd seen his stories, and it looked flipping solid, and I thought, oh, that looks pretty cool, but I'll never go there. And then Reese then said, will you come over with us? We're going to do like an exchange. Then lot are coming over to do the wild horse. And we want to send people over. We'll all go over. So I spoke to Chris and I said, so what happened? Because he DNF'd last year and he said it was hard. Altitude to contend with and timings are tight. So I went home. I spoke to Amy, my partner, and I said, oh, they're talking about me going over to Canada to race, expecting her to say, well, you're not going to do that. That's mental. And she said, that would be the family holiday of a lifetime. We're in. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, project 2025, and here we are. And mission successful.
So not only did you do the Dan Slam again, which is now the Unstable Slam,
Yeah.
you added on 200 miles across the Canadian mountains.
Yeah, and I supported you and did one of them.
Yeah.
Did the Holland twice, once with you and once regular, and supported you on a couple.
Did the whole Edam with me, basically.
Oh yeah. That was fun. You got to see the fun bus in all of its glory. Yeah. So then I see the thing about doing these really crazy challenges for me is I'm always looking for something that scares me enough to pull my finger out to actually train, because I like I said last time I like making things difficult for myself, and like the first Pegasus Slam, I entered that thinking that's wild. There's no way I'd do that. And you've had loads of guests on, like Richard most recently, saying the same sort of thing of, ooh, that's pushing myself. So I thought this will get me out of the rut of partying again and eating and drinking to excess. And then I'd say 3 events into the slam, I was like, this is easy, it's fine. And then started eating and drinking again and putting all the weight on and whatever and partying. And then this time, having known people I respect and think are faster than me, started at DNF'd, I thought, you really are going to have to pull your finger out for this one. You need to go back to basics, like a proper 12-month plan. So roll it back then to October. This time last year, I did 30 day, and you know, I love a challenge. So I did 30 days of yoga every day, at least 30 minutes. Because, yeah, flexibility wise was off, and that was affecting my climbing too. And then I did my 30 days of 30 minutes of rowing every day for my sort of intervals, VO2 max, while still recovering from the previous year. And then straight into the nonsense then. December, I did a 496 backwards. Started off in 31 kilometers all the way down until I got to 5 kilometers. And then I stayed at 5 kilometers through Christmas week. And then in January, I started at 5 kilometers and went back up the other side, and then that was the bulk of my base training then. I pulled my strength and conditioning back in. And I'd done a bit of rowing, bit of running, a bit of everything into the first race of the season, which would be in the Canam. Canam went okay. I don't know if you remember, it's a while ago now, but Luke Merritt decided to challenge me to running in some Chinese knockoff hockers called Nokas. So I ran the first half of that in pretend trainers, almost ruined myself. Halfway through, took them off, put some real shoes on, and that went alright. I was clearly beginning to come into form that I hadn't seen in years, and having not drunk then, roll back to January. I'd stopped drinking for January. I always do dry veganuary and loads of other things in January, but the weight had started to fall off then, which was lovely. And then even into February, where I'd start drinking again, like last year. I mean, I don't think we mentioned this on the podcast, but I was also doing drinking challenges. I did a year's drinking streak of drinking at least a drink every day, a beer every day of the year. Although non-alcoholics in January, because dry January. So yeah, knocked all of that in the head. I'd have a couple of drinks on the weekend, and that would be it. So the weight was going well too. Coming into the season then. So yeah, April. Then May at the Howam, my usual tactic of the only race that I really try. Went quite hard at the Howam. For me anyway, it was another 40 minutes off my PB, which I thought, this is getting tasty, considering the year before I'd set the PB too, and I'd tried. So I was thinking, yeah, this is good. Then, so that's what, May. Then the Wild Horse, and I was running that with my mate Jamie, and him. It was a hot start to that, and we picked up Luke. Luke wasn't in a good way, and then Jamie and Luke DNF'd at checkpoint 3, and that sent me in a bit of a spiral. You know, when your plan is to run with someone and then they're no longer in the race, what's the plan anymore? So yeah, out of there then I started to feel my form though, and then started to go, we can have a go here. So yeah, great race. I mean, yeah, like a really fast. I think I took like another 5 hours out of my PB, and the year before I took 24 hours out of my PB. So we were flying. Came across, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was in a bad way coming into, I don't know, the checkpoint, the one in Ammanford, Brynhaman way. And he was not in a good way, delirious, couldn't find the route then, and he was infected. He ended up getting pulled at the last checkpoint because of infection, but he was going around in circles, couldn't know where he was going, was barely able to walk more. So I got him into the next checkpoint, but I think that caused this bit of a mental spiral. But even still, like all these mental spirals, I think it's all scar tissue in it, right? You learn how to deal with things and what to do when things go wrong. So then slept at Brynhaman, which I don't usually, I didn't last year, but I did this year, and then just sent it home, man. And I think everyone's seen my finish. I had plenty of energy left in the tank. So yeah, great race, and beginning to feel all the form. And I think it's about then that I become an adventure athlete and started to take you up on strength and conditioning. Into June then. What's the race in June that you do? Vogum? Did the Vogum?
Yeah.
2 weeks recovery from the Wild Horse this year, which was millions of times, so that was fine. A lot of fun bus, went to the pub halfway through as we do. Lots of fun, lots of joy to people. And then into the Epona, which I did with my mate Chris, who DNF'd with me last year on the Wild Horse. Well, I didn't DNF, but he DNF'd having got a massive infection and still hasn't got feeling in his feet. And that was a great race. We in fact, Jamie was with us to begin with, but he pulled back because the pace was a bit high, and he made it to the end, which was good. But yeah, sort of halfway through that, I just started to notice some swelling in the sort of groin area. I thought, this is a bit weird, but I'll forget about that. And then on the last, because there's a nonsense loop that you have to do. You get to the finish line, and then I have to go and do this loop, which is horrible. Went up the Skirrid, and I was like, let's power through this, let's get all this done, and I lost power. I started to think, things are going wrong here. Got over the Skirrid and started being sick. Thought, what's going on here? But felt great then. After that, started running, me and Chris went quite fast. Chris was in a bad way. He picked up an Achilles and tore his Achilles there. We all know how fun that is. But we ran into the finish, did really well there. And then this groin injury, I'm like, this is not normal. Start to do my usual, blokey thing, stick my head in the sand, it'll go away. I think we went for a punks trail run that week, and I realised, no, there's something wrong here. The hypochondria told me that I had a hernia. I thought, nah, I can't be a hernia. I went on that run, and it was getting more painful. Went to the doctors, and literally was in this sort of spiral of thinking, this is it. My running career is over. My racing, my adventuring is over. I went to the doctors. Doctor's like, nah, it's fine. You can carry on running around. Obviously, I just thought, oh well, that's the way to go. But put myself in the waiting list to sort all of that. So then that became a minor footnote in my year. Where are we now? We're into June, July. Is the Edam right? No. What's off the Vogum? Pigham. Yeah, Pigham was a lot of fun. Ran out with my mate Louise and her husband Steve, my friends. And we just had a fun bus all day. It just, well, you saw the sprinting on the track that you mimicked in your 6 and 6. A lot of fun that was. Yeah, great day out. But it also, like, after all these big races, 30 miles, it started to feel like 30 miles. What's 30 miles? It's just a training run, right? And and I also started to notice though that I was flying up the hills. Like, I wasn't even trying. I'm not like trying to be egotistical or blowing my own trumpet, but I could feel that something was going right. The strength and conditioning was going right. The training was going right, and the weight loss was clearly paying dividends. And then I loved descending, and we fell like rocks, like past everyone, flying past everyone. And we generally do that anyway. But also, because of the now lack of weight, the impact on the body was fine. I wasn't carrying DOMs after races and all sorts. So yeah, great race. And then August, you're 6 and 6. We did the Howham, and that was a fine day out. It was fine. And then
slept in a shed.
Yeah, did you tell everyone about the cheapest Airbnb I ever found? There was a reason. Literally staying in a garden shed.
Yeah.
That was mental. And then and in some ways, like, it evolved our relationship, right?
Yeah.
Being quite close in a shed, and an outside composting toilet that was very peculiar. Very peculiar whole thing, that, right? Oh yeah, and then I was doing some other nonsense challenge that I've forgotten about, something to do with cycling more every day. So I went for a bike ride that night on my Brompton, up around the lakes that I think might be in Devona. I don't know. I haven't looked at the route, but around that way. Then the next day you did Vogum, and I cycled you in on that because you needed food, or there was a thought that you needed food.
And by the time you got to me, I was like headphones in, ignoring the world.
Locked in then. It was lush to see. So, but I got a good photo that we was supposed to.
That is my
telly.
Favourite video going.
Yeah, it was good crack. But like serendipity, right? I was just there trying to get you food and finish work, and yeah, well, that was great. Then what was it? The next day would have been the Edam, right? Was that?
No, then I'd have done the Pigham.
Pigham. I didn't do anything with you to Pigham. I didn't come to that. No. I think that was just me doing all the logistics to get you to get to the Airbnb.
Yeah.
Which is nonsense, because we got lots of nonsense stories about that little village anyway. Then the Edam, and I remember you just led the flipping race down the hill. And I thought, well, the fun bus we're having a fun day, me and my mates. We'll see you later, and then seeing your mother and father, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, Will's up here, come on, pull your finger out, go. I was like, nah, this is a fun bus, it's fine. And then finding you deflated in a ditch, thinking, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Yeah. But yeah, we had a proper fun bus that day. Lots of fun. Everyone's seen the videos. You felt the full force of the fun bus.
Oh yeah. And that got me through that fun bus.
Oh mate, it got us all through, right? And it was a legendary fun bus because it was like worlds colliding, right? There was the adventure athletes folk. There was Andrew coming up being part of the group. Then it was my lot too, the usual fun bus, and then all of it ebb and flowing as people could make wrong direction turns or people making decisions because my lot thought you were going to do your usual thing and turn the screw, so they left the last checkpoint thinking, right, I need to get out, otherwise I won't finish with everyone. And then them getting lost as well, and then coming back together, so they have their own mini story. It's lush. And us having our mini stories and like trail naps and stuff, because then you were going into this wild sleep deprivation then, and then finishing that was very late. Yeah, us driving back to the Airbnb, and me and George got to know each other on that trip, right? And that sort of solidified our relationship. And then us drinking beers till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which was ridiculous. Yeah, so that finished, and then finishing for you on the rhythm, right? And I sort of came around and ferried Joe around a bit, and just general nonsense, and seeing what I knew was for everyone like a collective achievement, but also your achievement, and you not wanting people around. You had fucking enough of people by then, which I understood completely because I was in a similar sort of world. It's because as soon as you finished, I gave you a coach and I went home. I was like, this is too much for me. Yeah, but that was great. But then me stressing, then understanding the fall off that I'm having now. Perhaps, but you were in a microcosm of 6 days of that, and then boom, everyone's gone, and you're on your own. So trying to keep in touch with everyone, and it wasn't just you; it was everyone supporting, also going through the same sort of up and down of it, which it was nice that we all become so close to do that, but also it's a stress which we could all do without, but it's the game. So what are we in now? We're in August, right? No, we're in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in August, and then the Sirona. Yeah, I guess we could just have a podcast episode about the Sirona. So yeah, we went up on the Friday night. I spoke to Rhys Morgan, or was Rhys Jenkins, Creature of Discomfort. Sorry Rhys, but my brain.
Rhys Morgan.
Yeah, my same as me. he was putting it off for another year, and he had a hotel room, and I was like, I thought one of my mates, I thought Chris was going to be doing it, but he, because of his Achilles injury from the opponent, was like the physio said no. So then I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a room. I took up Rhys's room, and I'm in a Sandbank, the nonsense hotel that everyone else was in, although my lot were in somewhere else. So I was in the Sandbank, and then I we went for a couple of beers. I got back to the sound. They all gone to bed because they're responsible, and I'm not responsible. And then there's an Elvis tribute act down, blasting them out. So I have another beer there and watch this Elvis act, which is great. Went to bed, just dozing off. Fire alarm. I'm out of bed trying to get out for this fire drill. Turns out somebody drunk had pulled over. Well, I don't know what happened, but yeah. Then back to sleep. A few hours later, waking up. Everything's fine. Brush my teeth in this crazy hotel room. Put all my camelback's full of Milton, because I'd forgotten to do that. So I disinfected it that night. Pour that out. Fill it from the tap. Grab all my stuff. Walk to the registration to get my tracker, and I'm sipping the water. And all of a sudden, I'm having these nasty stomach cramps that are too painful to cope with. So I'm sitting down on the step outside, waiting for the whole thing to start. Everyone's having their pre-pictures inside, and I'm like, oh, this is not right. I don't feel right. And then there's been the conversation about the chap that had died on Cribgo, who's meant to be at the race, and his family are there at the start, and I'm pretty emotional. I was emotional the day before when Rhys was giving the speech about it. But I'm on the floor thinking, this is it. What's going on? And me and my mates were going to fun bus it together, and the whistle's gone. We're starting. I haven't even run 10 meters, and I'm walking. I can't run. Guys, you go on. I'll catch you up. I'm absolutely agony. Everyone goes round the corner. I'm sick. Food from the day before. I walk across the viaduct, and I'm spewing my ring up. I'm spewing and spewing and spewing. People later thought that people had been on the piss the night before, and they'd left spew all across the viaduct. I'm sorry, Barmouth. It's a lovely place. didn't mean to do that. And yeah, things are not going well, but you know, I'm committed to the dance slam, the unstable slam, and I have to get it done. So yeah, I'm in a bad place mentally, but it's even worse, right? I got the Sorona tattoo last year. I can't not do the race after I've got the tattoo. And so I know there's toilets at about 10 miles in. So I'll get to the toilets and see, you know, if it's both ends or one end. I get to the toilet, this public toilet, and I've taken hours. I'm last place, but I'm last place by hours at this point. And use the toilet, and as I come out of the toilet, I see Rachel and Carrie Ann and another lady, I've forgotten the name of, sorry, and they've set up like a mobile aid station, and I think you see a photo of it because it's ridiculous, and they've wrapped me up, and I'm sat on the side of the road sitting down, and they give me a Fanta, and I start to feel a little bit better. So I'm like, thank you ladies, you've got me back in the game. I run up the hill, and I'm running again. I'm like, this is great. I haven't even got a kilometre, and I'm like, back pain, cramps, stomach in half, running, not walking like 500 metres, and then having a sit down, wait for the pain to subside and carry on. And then by this time, I think Reese has started to phone me and started to say, like, I need to think about Canada. This is the A race of the year. This is what everything's about. You should think about what you're doing. You shouldn't hurt yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's fine. I've spoken to my missus, who wasn't even going to meet me at checkpoint 1 because we'd have been through it before she'd have got the kids organised, because my whole I forgot to mention, but my family are coming to Canada to crew me, so this is the test run of how they're going to crew me. So I thought, you know, checkpoint 2, and I'm like, I need Pepto-Bismol, which is something we'd used in Dominican Republic, no, Honduras years ago when we'd had jippy stomachs, and I thought, she won't get that up in North Wales. North Wales is difficult to find it, but she found it, and she's at checkpoint 1 waiting for me with this. In the meantime, some volunteer had met me with his car, drove past, and is trying to offer me Imodium and other things. I'm like, no, the last thing I want to do is be backed up now and for the rest of this race. But somehow, I don't know if it was because I made a joke with him or something, but somehow it fed back to Reese that I was after morphine and strong cocodamol and all kinds of strong painkillers, and Reese is fruiting a loop now. I'm not even 20 miles into this race, and I'm trying to smash painkillers into myself. I don't know where that came from. I think I may have said to eat off of painkillers, and I was like, what painkillers? You got joking. But yeah, so there was this all going on, and all in the volunteer chat, Dan is in a bad way, he's dying. And like, I was in a really bad way, because there's like the train, there's a part where cars can't go, and you go over a bridge, and there's like a train station in the middle of nowhere, and there's like this the sea is that side, there's a train, and there's a sandbank, and there's a road, and I'm going 10 meters and lying on the floor and closing my eyes and counting to 60 for the pain to subside, standing up, running another 10 meters and doing the same thing, and thinking, this is not going well, this is bad. And at the time, all the stuff in my pack, I lost my hat, I lost my cup, because they were all falling out my back while I was lying on the floor. And then I'm running into checkpoint 1, and my boys are there, and they've come up, and I start crying, and my boys come up to catch me, and I'm like, they're going to see me flipping DNF, like a ridiculous part in the race. And then Amy comes up, and she's got this Pepto-Bismol. I smash some of that. I'm sat down, I'm doing my usual, you know, you get your fluids in, you have some calories. I go to the toilet, because there's a toilet there, and I start feeling great. And I think I think my next update video comes on the next stage, which is all on sand. So, and I think I'm singing, I'm rapping to Eminem on my update video, saying, guess who's back? Everything's great, I'm back in the game, Pepto-Bismol's working, we're great. And I can see on the tracker, and I'd seen Kev in that checkpoint, and see on the tracker, Kev's just ahead, and I'm like, I'm going to catch up to Kev, see how he gets on. And I get to the little village, I think it's Abu Dhabi, and go in the shop and get some Lucozade Sport, because like, see Kev's just stopped recently. I thought he'd met his missus or whatever, and he's on, apparently he was getting hosed over because he had heat exhaustion. So then there's the climb out of Abu Dhabi, which is quite a killer climb. I think a lot of people on your podcast have mentioned it, and people I've just talked to have mentioned how terrible this part is. But I recce'd this last year, so I knew what this was. And I was looking forward to it, and I also knew Kev was there. He's like a carrot then, isn't it? So I'm working up to Kev, and Kev's. I can see Kev just around the corner on top there, and I start singing the Loch Lomond. You can take the high road at him, and he's loving life, but I can see that he's not in a good way. And I put he's like, I'm not in a good way. I pass him, and then we're about two hours, maybe 2.5 hours out the checkpoint, and then the pain's back, and I'm sat there lying on the side of the road, waiting for the pain to subside. Same sort of thing, and I'm thinking, it's okay though. Like, I'll get to the next checkpoint. It'll be 4 hours. I can have my Pepto business. We can nurse these symptoms. It'll be all right. So, but this stage takes a while. But I'm enjoying it. It's beautiful. I've done this part in dark as well, which is a lot harder. And I think it was raining as well. So this is sunshine. Everyone's getting heat exhaustion. I'm loving life and loving the views, but also not loving life because I'm in massive pain. So we get into Plas Talgarth, which is where checkpoint 2 is, and me and my family, in fact, yeah, after my first wild horse, we did a week's holiday there, and there's like a sauna in the room, so I know this place quite well. So I'm on the estate, I'm working my way through, and then all of a sudden I'm sick again, and I'm spewing everything that I've taken on, and I thought, this is it, Dan, there's no way you're DNFing, you just have to accept, and I mean, like, for all of the bravado, it's kind of what we do, right? We're looking for that breaking point, and I've found that breaking point. But then I'm like 200 or 300 meters away from the finish. I'm on the estate. Like, I know that the checkpoint's going to be where the main hotel is and complex is and whatever. But I'm like, okay, accept it. It's going to happen. But also, the amount of people I see going to checkpoints and have decided to DNF, and I'm like, sit down, have some food, and then decide. And I'm like, I'll take my own advice. So I get in there, and I'm a little bit teary, a little bit shit. Things are going bad, and I see Amy, and she gives me some Pepto Bismol, and I'm saying, this is exactly what I'm going to DNF you, I think, but I'm going to see how all of these things. And while I'm there, I'm reading the bottle of Pepto Bismol, and it says you should take it every hour, not every 4 hours. And I'm like, because I immediately felt better when I took it. So I'm like, okay. So, if I can find a way of taking a dose with me, and then Amy meets me sort of another hour or so away, and then the next checkpoint's like an hour or so away, then let's see how this goes. Let's decide based on how that goes, right? So, I'm full of optimism now, and I'm looking at the next person. I'm starting to look at, catching up and taking over people. And this gentleman, and I think the guy has Parkinson's, which my father has, right? So I'm looking to catch up this guy and talk about his adventure. And I think it's Nikki that's there. I think it's Nikki, Sharice's wife. I think wife. She's in the checkpoint, and she comes up with this idea of using surgical gloves and putting a measure of Pepto Bismol and tying a knot in it, and then Amy does that. They double bag it with 2 fingers, cut the fingers off, tie it out, and I got like this shot of Pepto Bismol with me, and I've set myself an alarm, and off I go, and I'm feeling alright, but I felt alright last time, and then I get to that hour, and I do that shot, and I never get the pain back, and I'm like, this is good. And then, so that's why I'm flying through this stage, and I'm starting to make time into this guy, and then Amy meets me sort of on the old road from Machynlleth before they'd finished the bypass there under the bridge with the kids, and the kids are playing up, they need toilets, so I'm dealing with all that father thing, which is a new dynamic of, you're not just crewing, you're parenting, and that's a complexity that I've got to think about for Canada. But I'm looking at the time, and now my predicted time into the first checkpoint with a cut off, I'm behind it, and I think I'm messaging you, and you were like, fuck up, you're an adventure athlete, you're gonna make that, it's not if, it's when you make that. I'm like, yeah, fair, but I'm a bit stressed out about it. And then Reese is on the phone to me, and he's into me now about, like, Keris is gonna kill me if you die out here, you can't be doing this, think about Canada, and he's like, look, you're going to be late for the next checkpoint, and I can give you some grace, because obviously this is extenuating circumstance. I don't need your fucking grace, mate. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Fuck up, watch this. And then I hang up with him, and I don't, there's no run walking, I am running. I am flying, and I'm looking, and I've got my mate Chris, I've got him to text me what the predicted time at the next checkpoint is every 15 minutes to see how much time I'm making into it. And it's like you see it come, and then we get close to midnight, so I'm putting an hour's grace into it, and then I think everyone hates this stage, but I've got a mission, right? And I've done it before. I'd recce'd all of this stage. I knew what was in store. I think everyone else didn't know how much coastal path was in this part and how weird it is, and how mind-numbing some of it gets. But I'm in like, there's the checkpoint, there's my deadline, I'm going for that deadline. And also when Reese had phoned me, he was telling me, I know you were chasing this guy, but he's fallen over and hurt himself, and he's DNF now, and I don't want you to worry, he's okay, but he's DNF now. So when you see him on DNF, he's okay, you're alright. So then that target's gone, but I've got this target at the next checkpoint. And I fly into this checkpoint, happy as can be. I think I'm singing songs, and Sarah's there, and she gives me a clutch, and everyone's like rallying now and sorting all of my stuff. And I'm texting Reese, "Oh, ye of little faith, oh, ye of little faith." And I think when I made the checkpoint, I'm voice noting you, and I'm like, "Yeah, we got this, baby, we got this." And there's loads of hype. And then Kat Tomps is also messaging me. She's like, have you got any pacers? Like, I got no pacers. She's like, I'm coming to pace you tomorrow. Now at the time, I thought she was like in the area volunteering, and she was going to pace me. Turns out she was in Cardiff, and she was going to get up at silly o'clock in the morning to come and drive to pace me. And I didn't know all of this at the time. So it was all this positive thing mentally. I'm getting into this good place. And then the next the start of this next stage is the bit I'm really not looking forward to, because when I recce'd it was in the winter, and it was all underwater in this marshy land. But it'd been dry all summer, right? And it was all dry. I was flying up it, so it was all positive then, and I'm running, I'm flying, right? And I'm thinking, right, I got to catch up to the boys. And I messaged Chris, and I said, I'm going to have the boys, I'm going to get them, and I'm going to get them before Llangrannog. And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to get them in the next stage. But that didn't happen, but that's where I was hunting then. And so I come out of there, and I think it was Courtney, but it might have been somebody else, is sending voice notes about, look how mad we are, we're all up on a mountain in the middle of the night, look how beautiful the stars are, this is great, loving life. And I'm like, I'm sending notes, and I listen them back, and my audio's terrible, but I'm like, who's going to carry the sticks? They don't know me. I'm proper buzzing off life now. And I think a lot of people have struggled on this stage, but all I can see is the bright lights of Aberystwyth. No, it's over there. No, you can see the trackers. I'm making progress on everyone. And I'm racing, and I'm trying to get to, and I'm flying. And I get into Aberystwyth, and at the time there's people in there sleeping. I didn't know they were volunteers, but I thought I was taking over people. It turns out they were volunteers. And I get in there, do a complete outfit change, have some food. I'm looked after. Some friends in there, Laura and Elsie, and some other people I know, and have a complete change, bathe my feet, the usual Dettol bath. I come out of there, and this is the stage I catch people, and I am refreshing the thing, and I'm voice noting you saying, I don't know what you've done to my body, but I am flying, I am running uphill, I'm running downhill, I am going, this is the best. I'm voice noting Joe, and Joe's sending me, it's not Will, I haven't done this to you, you've done this yourself. I'm like, fuck up. but like, it's like a joy, it's the belief is starting to come that Canada really could be on the cards. And I'm getting messages like, I don't know, this is the resurrection of Plod, what's going on? So the hype is real. And there's some nasty climbs out of Aberystwyth. I'm running up them. I'm catching people. And then also Mike, I promised Mike we were going to have a conga on the mountain, and I've got my speaker out, and I'm playing the conga, and it's on repeat. And I come into the next checkpoint, and Mike is in, and he's had an injury, right? He did something, I think, to his ankle, or Achilles or something, and he's decided to DNF, and I'm like, you can fuck up, you're going to do a conga with me. And I think you've seen a video, I'm doing a conga around the checkpoint, and then I meet two guys in there, and I've forgotten your names, I'm sorry, but lovely men, and they want to run now because they've been shepherding Mike, and we're running out of there, and it's quite a flat section. I had no idea, I've not recce'd any of this, but I know the area reasonably well as a tourist, not as running coastal path, and we're run walking a bit because it's showing this the race is hurting people. But I got my speaker on now, and we're having the fun bus, and we're playing the Prodigy, we're playing Smack My Bitch Up, we're playing like all the Prodigy big numbers. Everyone's dancing. It's a great time. We get into the next checkpoint then, and the boys have started to go out as I've come in, and I'm like, that's a bit tight, that is. And we promised to go for a pint in Newquay, and I'm messaging them, giving them the bants, right? What's going on? I thought we were going for jars. What's going on? So going to that checkpoint, and then what is the guy's name? Sorry, but his missus has Tenzing, which is like my energy drink a choice, and she's like a trail fairy handing me Tenzing, and from then on, every time she sees me, she's handing me Tenzing, which is great. But I'm also starting to get in that lull now of sleep deprivation, and Laura's there, and she's like, Dan, and I'm just staring into space, and she's getting me back into the game. And there's a lady, I've forgotten her name, from Postcode Runners, and she's decided DNF. She's got heat exhaustion. It's a hot day. So we go out of that checkpoint, and I think we all make the commitment that we're probably going to end up running at our own paces at this stage. People are flagging, so people are feeling good, and I'm feeling good. And I let people go off because I need a wee, and I'm desperate for a wee. So I'm having a wee in a bush on the side of the road, and a flipping minibus full of old biddies comes round, and I'm trying to hide myself, and I end up weeing all over myself. So mentally now I've weed myself, and Ella said, all of a sudden my missus turns up with flipping all of my kit so I can change on the side of the road. But the one guy's gone out, and the other guys, I think the other guy's gone past, but I catch him pretty quickly. We're through Newquay, and it's hot now, and everyone's struggling. I start to take places. We've been taking places a bit, but I start to make progress into the race. And then, so we're going to. I've run out of phone battery, and we've not charged my phone, so I'm on a blower to my missus. I need phone. We're going to a place called Cwmtidi, and I've done loads of ultra endurance stuff from Cwmtidi, so I know the area reasonably well. But I've ended up going to the farm, which is where my friend lives, which is where we started our Audax with, instead of where she's going to be able to meet me. So I'm a bit of a tease, sleep deprivation. Coming to Cwmtidi, and I know we're off on a tangent, and there's Rachel and Carrie Ann, and they got flipping tip tops, and I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And everyone's sort of having a spell and whatever, and then I see Gitzo, my mate, who's just there by Trail Magic, and I don't even have time to talk to him. My missus goes to me, the boys have just left, they're like 10 minutes in front of you, and I know Llangranog's the next checkpoint, and I've told Chris I'm going to have him before Llangranog's. Just like, right, head down, ass up, let's go. And obviously I love descending, so I fly past people, I'm catching, I can see him in the distance. And I come up to Jamie, and Jamie's not having a good time, he's struggled, and there's a lady that the boys have sort of helped through the night, and she's like, they're great, but they also don't want me to catch them, so they're trying their best, but they don't descend like me. So I go past them like a stone, and I give them a clutch, almost push them off the mountain, because this is quite a hairy thing. And then me and the guy I was running with at that other checkpoint, we come into Llangrannog together, and I get a Tenzing or whatever, and then Kat's there, she's been waiting for flipping hours for me, and then she's going to pace me the next day. So I say goodbye to the boys, because my pace has been waiting and whatever. And so me and Kath are doing thing. We get lost a little bit, and there's lots of fun. And then we come into this little seaside village, and Kath goes down, and it turns out ends up breaking bones. And I'm like, what is it with me and people that I run with? I either end up DNFing or having long-term injuries. I just kill people off. What's going on? And this happened on the Wild Horse earlier in the year too. One of my pacers ended up couldn't walk, and nursing him through. So I'm in a bit of a tailspin about this. And Kat's committed to doing 2 stages. So we get to the next checkpoint, and she's adamant she's going to do the next stage with broken bones. And Chris is like, I'll take you back to your car. You're all right. You should go. You shouldn't, you've broken the bones. And then Chris knows how to press my buttons. He's like, this guy behind telling us he's going to beat you. I'm like, no, I'm not having that. Out I go, 100 mile an hour. Start picking people off, whatever. yeah, loads of little micro stories, boring, but long and the short of it, I'm out in front of it. I'm 2 hours in front of the next person behind me, and Rich has just finished, and I'm 2 hours from the finish, and there's no point now. So I get a little bit in a, and I think Rich said the same thing on this stage. I start to feel like it's all a dream. It's all a simulation. The level of my hallucination is, I think I've been here before. This is all deja vu. I know all of this. It's all crap. I ate it. It's going to take days. But then Chris gets into my head, and he starts giving the big one. You should start running. I got a beer here, and if you don't come now, you're not going to have a beer. So then I start running, and I think he'd have made a bet with Reese as well that he's walking now. He'll take ages, and he'll, nah, I'll get him in now. I know how to press his buttons. So I run in. We finish. Everyone talks about the great race that I had, and there's me starting to believe that maybe the divide can happen. And then so the rhythm's next, and one of your clients, M, has decided she's going to run it last minute, and she wants a fun bus, and I'm ever the man to deliver a fun bus. And in my mind, you tell me the furthest she's run is 10k, so I'm like, oh, this is going to be a long day out. And for those who don't know, the rhythm is literally the day before I fly to Canada. I got to get all my kit washed and packed from the rhythm and drive to Gatwick. So yeah, I think we saw each other. I had a sports massage, right? And you were like, no, she's fast, mate. She might have only done 10k, but she's strong and she don't believe in herself. And I'm like, okay, so it's going to be all right. So we start the fun bus. We're doing like 5:30s, like fast 10k pace, and I'm like, it's all right. Like, you're getting a big, and I'm saying to her, this is a bit fast, man, for somebody who's never running out. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling all right. And she's talking. She's clearly still in zone 2, and I'm in zone 2, but I'm still thinking we're going to pay for this later on. And then we're running up hills, and we run off road, and we're running downhills, and like the conversation's great, the fun bus is great, but then there comes a point I'm like, look, we're walking up hills, we can't sustain this, and like she's fine with that. I think she's waiting for the lead, and we're having a lot of fun. The fun bus is doing its thing. We're playing music, we're playing tunes, everyone's enjoying life. And she needed the toilet, and I know for the pub after checkpoint 2, so I go in there and have a pint in the checkpoint, and I think no, she didn't have a pint in that one. And then checkpoint 3, I made her have a pint, and she has a drink, so we have some booze, and yeah. And then I'd say 3/4 in, we're on a downhill, we're almost into the country park who finishes, and she's like, this is her day. I was like, you're going to fuck right up, like we got like 5k to go now, you just suffer now, you haven't suffered all day, now's the time to suffer. And to be fair to her, she just stuck her head down and got it done, and I'm like, that was faster than I would have, like, this is not a taper race. What's going on? But it also was good. Like, it was the end of the slam. All slammers are in a festive spirit. And this year, like last year, I came on this podcast, and everyone knew of me, and I knew of everyone, but nobody talked to me. I didn't really like. It was the first time we'd met. You knew how nervous I was for that at the time. But this year, I feel like I'm part of the community, and everyone's part. The community just feels so much stronger now. I think this podcast has a lot to do with that, right? Because all of us normal folk come on here, and then we get to know each other. It's easier to talk to each other, and then people think it's easy. They get to know you and they talk to you. So like, there's a proper celebration, and I stick around for a little while. But then I'm like, I gotta get home. I gotta pack. This is a big day, and I got a lot of kit. Like, the logistics of this holiday, taking the family and all the kit for a 200-miler. So yeah, get home, stress about the packing. I think I pack quite late, get up at ridiculous time in the morning to then drive all the way up to Gatwick, and stress about the weight limits because of kit. Separate half my kit into my carry-on in case my kit gets lost on the plane, because in the Wild Horse in my first year, a lady from the States, all her kit got missing, and she didn't have nothing to start the 200. I was borrowing everything, so like, my carry-on's got enough kit to do the race, my main bag's got enough to do the race. Then we go to Iceland, and I think I posted a video in the Blue Lagoon, loving life, driving a left hand drive car with a manual gearbox in 30-mile-an-hour winds is just wild, and almost killed my family within minutes of being there. Arrive in Canada, road trip full of nonsense stories I could tell you about, but it's unhelpful, but lots of nonsense, which is my life. Get to the race place, and then Chris is wife's sister-in-law is a masseuse, and he's having a massage, and I'm like, that sounds like an absolutely brilliant idea. I got sore ITBs from the race and then the travelling. I'll sign up for one of them. Yeah, so the day before the race, I have the best massage of my life, and also the most pain I've ever felt in my life in my ITBs. Wake up on the morning of the race, and my ITBs are huge and throbbing. Just what you need before you do 200 miles. And that brings us on to the Divide 200 in Canada.
The big one.
The big one. The whole point of the year, the A race that we built everything up to. So yeah, where do you want to begin? I guess at the start.
Yeah. I want to hear all about this. Everyone has been asking me, when is Plod coming on to talk about the Divide? I'm like, he's coming on. Don't worry, we're getting Plod back on the podcast.
Yeah, I felt like I had to do all of that pricey though, because there was talk about me doing a pre-podcast because of everything that happened this year. And I'm sure I've missed loads out, but you've got what you got. So yeah, so we're at the start, and I'm getting loads of messages from. It's my birthday, right? And I'd forgotten my birthday, and last year I was doing the birthday ultra, so I'm getting lots of messages. I'm getting messages before it's the day, and I'm like, fuck up, it's not my birthday. It's not my birthday in Canada yet. So yeah, we're on the start line. Jenks is messaging me. I can see you and Nick together, and I'm sending him selfies of us together. The festival of everything is happening, and the race is there. And there's me, Chris, and Nick on the start line, and we're taking some of the pictures that you've all seen. Life is good. My boy's there at the start line. He comes to give me a touch and says, "Go on, Daddy, you got this." And I'm like tearful, all of them sort of emotions. And then we're on the front of the start line. All of a sudden, it's just it's starting, right? And we're leading the race. And like, this is nonsense. So I go out. The three of us are leading the race, and there's Brian on his electric motorbike or his electric bicycle, like showing us where to go, and I'm just chanting Wales, standard dance stuff, and the other two are shouting Wales too. So we lead the whole race for like a mile until it gets onto the trail, and until we're out the town and the camera's like, that's enough of that nonsense. We got 200 miles to go. And so we're all running, and we're talking, and the guys are talking about us all sticking together for the race. And in my mind, like, I'm concerned that obviously I'm concerned about DNFing, and I don't want to put the pressure on them, but also I'm thinking that in my mind, what was going to happen is the first 2-3 stages, which is where this tasty cut-offs are, before they start putting in the time for sleeping into the cut-offs, that I got to work hard, but also I don't want to put the pressure of them to wait on me or whatever. So this is going through my mind, but I'm also like, yeah, it would be nice to do everything together. And then we make this pact that we're going to do it together, but also, which is a nice pact, that if any of us finishes first, that we got to come back and pace the last section together. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds great. And then nobody has to feel the stress then if it happens. We're still in the group of people. So we're running together, but we're still running like 5:30, 6-minute kilometers for flipping 200 miles. But this stage is like the only one goat out of 5 goat stage that there is. So yeah, we're running, and it's like being on a flat of a valley path. You could be in Wales. It's like evergreen trees everywhere, except if you look above the trees, there's these massive mountains with like beautiful epic landscape. But while you're in the tree cover, it looks like Wales. And then the first checkpoint comes, and we're like 2 miles in. Like, what the flipping hell is the point in a checkpoint at this year? And it turns out that the checkpoint was supposed to be 10k in, but they couldn't get the ATV across the bridge because the small one had broken and the big one wouldn't fit. So they've put it there. At this point, I haven't even taken a sip of water, But there's snacks and whatever, and we're abroad. I'm gonna try all of the nonsense. I'm eating baby food, apple food. I got crisps, all the season flavour. The gherkins, mustard, ketchup flavour crisp. I'm like, what's going on? I'm smashing some of this, and I'm picking up all of the snacks. Little did I know at this stage that was important, because, yeah, the next stage is the only 5-star stage of the whole race, which I did know that. So we're into what would have been the latter half of the first stage, and then we start the climb. So the climbs are pretty serious. It reminds me of like Smilog Woods when things get steep, but it just keeps going, and it just keeps going. You know, we're going from, I don't know, like 1,000 meters to 2.5 and a bit meters, 1,000 meters, and then it drops and it goes. But so you're doing this nice little climb. You break out of the tree line, and it's just this epic landscape off into the distance. You see this ridge line, which you've got to carry on climbing up into the mountain. You see all the runners up there, and by this point, we've started to signal to each other that where we are in the race by shouting Wales and getting echoes Wales. But the other competitors have started to do it now. We got everyone shouting Wales, so like, Wales, Wales, all in the Rocky Mountains. So yeah, I'm starting to pull out away from the other guys, and Nick is. I wait, and then Nick comes, and then Chris comes, and I get the sense like, oh, perhaps I'm fitter than I thought I was. Like as a yardstick, like Nick has podiumed on one of the wild horses. You know, I'm not that level of runner, and I consider Chris to be faster than me, and it could because he's beaten me in races this year. But you know, 200 miles is my distance, and I put the training in, and then I meet this guy Paul. Oldest guy in the race, in his 70s. In fact, he was on a podcast last week, and he's done like loads of 200s, like Cocodona, all of them big ones. And the guy's there, and I don't know, realise at the time, but he's wearing these sort of meta glasses, which have got a camera in, and he's vlogging, and he's like recording videos, but I don't know, I think he's just talking to me. And I said, how are you doing? And he's like, I'm having the best day of my fucking life. And he's not wrong. Like, this is the best day of my life. It is just... You can't, everywhere you look, you're like, what the fuck is going on? This is, pinch me, this isn't real. So we're going up this ridge line like that. Epic ridge line. And then you get to the top of that particular peak. We take, all of us taking pictures, selfies, recording videos, but like, now we're at altitude. And like, you know, I'm jogging, and I'm in zone 5, jogging. I'm walking, and I'm like, but it's fine. But you get that feeling that it was kind of what I was worried about. It's not oppressive, but you know it's there. And then there's a descent. As soon as a descent, past loads of people, flying past people who are taking their time, and then another climb, and it's relentless. It's like that on this stage. It's and I'm loving it. But then it gets to some scrambles at the hairiest that you look down, and there's like 1,000-meter drop. You look at that side, and it's not so much of a drop, but there's like mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains. And I'm climbing, thinking, flip, if I didn't climb here, I don't know what I would do. We get to what I think was the highest peak there, and there's this like gopher running around. I almost feel like I'm tripping. There's a gopher running around and trying to get a picture of it. And I think I record some videos, and you come off this, and it's like a down climb. A down climb that, if you fall, that's it. And we're not talking about, you know, it's plenty of time. There's no runoff at all. That's it. And so I turn around, and I'm cribbing like that, and I'm cycling it, and then I'm cycling, and the whole flipping rock comes off the boulder in my hand and falls down the mountain. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty sketchy, that is. But it's fine. Like I make my way through, and then I watch Nick. And Nick's a climber too, and he makes it through. And then I watch Chris, and I'm scared now. And but Chris goes down front ways nice and easy, and he's fine. But like, I am panicking. Like, you don't want to lose your mate on a race, but there's this new dimension to racing that you don't usually have to experience. And then from there, it's a scree descent, and everyone is like, whoa, I don't know how you can go so slow. Like, everyone's taking their time, and then me and Nick are like skiing down it, flipping. Fly down it. I take like 20 or 30 of the field going down this climb, down this scree, and then I'm going up the other side, and I look around, and Chris is struggling too. He's finding it hard, and it's a bit like that. You know, I go off in front, Nick catches up, Chris catches up. That's the way things going, and then there comes a point where, like, I can't see Nick behind me, but I've run out of water, I've run out of food. and I'm not even 2/3 through the stage, and I start to panic now, thinking, oh, things could go very wrong here, because I haven't got nutrition, and how have I drunk so much water? Like I'm carrying 3 liters on me. I'm carrying like 2,000 calories. How have I gone through all of that food? Like it's like arid heat though, right up there, and the added pressure of altitude. But I start to panic a little bit, so I'm like, well, I'll push on now, because for my own safety, and everyone else has to do that. So I'm pushing on, but I'm worried now. I start to get a little bit of a background headache, thinking dehydration is coming in. We get to, I get to a little stream. It's barely a trickle, and I pre-story. I ordered from Sport Shoes a filter, and it gets lost in the post. And then I tried to organise them posting it, and the waiting for them to do an investigation essentially means that by the time I've left, they've not sent another one. But I managed to find one in a little village out in the States, and my base spray and all the other bits of nonsense that I need. So I've got a filter and from a local shop, Spry, awesome company, and I fill up half of it, smash off, wait for about 10 minutes to fill out the other. So I'm carrying now a filtered water, but I'm thinking things are a little bit better. Get to another bigger stream, which so I smash all of that, smash that, and fill. I'm going to be fine. And also managed to find some what's them sweets that you swear by?
What, pinballs?
No, not pinballs. The little jelly sweets that you like. They're vegan though, which means that I can have them. Oh. They like watermelon flavour usually.
Oh, Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch Kids. I discovered Sour Patch Kids after you had said about them. I'm like, these are vegan. I can
love them.
But I find at the back of my pack like 5 Sour Patch Kids, so I'm rationing these now. Every 30 minutes, I'm having one of these Sour Patch Kids. And I get to the first aid station, which is in the middle of nowhere, and this family are running it, and they're making me noodles. They're filling my bottle with Tailwind, which I'd never touched before this race, and I'm like, right, mission successful. I've done the 5-star. No, the next one's a 4-star, but hey, I've done the 5-star, and I made the cutoff. I made the cutoff with change, but like I'm stressed now with time or whatever. And then Nick comes into the checkpoint, and I'm about to leave, and he's like, wait for me. And I look at him in the eye, and like, actually, the stress was that stage. Yes, I'll wait for you. And company makes all of the difference, especially there's no paces in this race. And I, like, before this race, me and Nick barely know each other. Like, we know each other to talk to, and we've done that. We've been on races together, but I don't really know the guy. But when you do 200 miles, he's like a best friend now. I saw him today at Kev's race, and I missed him because I hadn't I'd been in his pocket for 4 or 5 days, 24 hours a day, and then he's disappeared. So it was a proper a sense of loss. We were talking about it today, but yeah. So we leave the checkpoint. And he's struggling a bit. I don't know if it was hips or Achilles, but he's struggling to run at this point. But it's this next stage is a weird stage. It's like, I don't know, 10 miles or maybe 10k, I can't, me in numbers, of just sort of rolling through the forestry, hardly going 20, 30 metres up, 30 metres down for this point, and then turns and goes to 2,500 feet again in a big circle around these Whistler Mountain and this other mountain, Tabletop Mountain, I think, but I probably got it wrong. Whatever. So we start, and he tells me about his story, and he'd run out of water. He doesn't have a filter, and he meets these couple of ladies, and they help him out and give him their filter and sort him out. So he's got his story, but we sort of, leapfrogging back and forth with these two ladies, and having a bit of banter, but also the bears and the wildlife is a thing, and I know everyone's talked about it, but in my head, I got that object permanence thing. I forget about them, and then they don't exist. It's not a problem. If they attack me, then I'll deal with it. I'm fine. But I get the sense now of other people that we need to worry about bears, and especially Nick. Nick is clearly, it's a third dimension, a fourth, fifth dimension to the racing that concerns him. So he's constantly making noises every so often, which is what he's supposed to do so that they don't come. And Chris has got bear bells on him, and none of this stuff matters to me, but it's a new dimension. So we leapfrog and whatever, And it's twilight, and apparently twilight and daybreak are the times when the bears will come out and that's when you're most likely to have a problem. So everything is amplified at this point. So we get to the bottom of these mountains, and they've left water bowsers for you to fill up your water, and we're talking to the ladies, and we're all leaving on this climb together, and we're death marching up, or just climbing up all together, doing a bit. Nick is hurting a bit, but we gap the ladies, and then the outdoor shop I mentioned earlier, they are doing a disco up on the mountain for everyone, and they're coming down because we're quite late going up there, and they get talking to Nick, and Nick is when you can't celiac, but not celiac, but that can't eat whatever that is.
Like gluten.
That's it. Sorry, gluten free. And he's commenting about how little options there are at the checkpoint. He's talking to these guys, and they're like, "Oh, we're doing a checkpoint. We're gonna have pizza." And he's like, "Oh, do you do gluten free?" And they're like, "Absolutely, we do gluten free for it." So he's having a little chin wag, and I'm just slowly working our way up the mountain. And I feel this is the night we solidify our friendship, because he's struggling, and I'm not struggling, but also like. We're working together as a team, and I'm getting him through, and he's getting me through, and we're buzzing off each other, because I'm like an idiot, as we know, and he's like the serious, outdoorsy person who does all the planning, but he's struggling, and together it's like we're going around this epic landscape. There's like thunder and lightning, hundreds of miles in the distance. You see forks over the top. Like Rockies to the west, Rockies to the east, nowhere near us. We're seeing the sunset, and it's like at this point it's like 16, 17 degrees at night. Everything is beautiful. We can see the stars twinkling. We're on top of these mountains, and it's epic landscape. And then it's the descent then, and we start taking people again, because even though he's hurting, he can descend too, and the two of us have been just plinking our way through, descending. Back in the tree line, he's worried about bears again. Starts shouting, "Hey bears, hey bears, hey bears, hey bears." This is all mental to me. I haven't quite woken up to that. This is going to be a theme of the whole thing. We get into checkpoint 2. And my family are all asleep in the car, because I don't know, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Nick's father-in-law is his crew, and they've got an RV, so he's sorting him out. And I'm, the classic Pegasus wild horse thing is I've asked Amy to get me a plastic bucket and some Dettol. And Chris's missus is Canadian, so she's asked Chris's missus, "Can you buy Dettol in this country?" And Chris's missus never heard of it, so she's like, "No." So Amy just don't buy anything, and I'm having a paddy, like proper, like you shouldn't be, because you're tired in a race. Like, why don't you just get a bucket then? What's going on? It's like, oh, they don't do it. And then Nick and his father-in-law have got a bucket and Dettol, because they bought them in Walmart, because they didn't ask for any. He just went and bought it. So yeah, I'm dealing. I think I have some of his bucket and bathe my feet, and we're sorting my feet out and changing my shoes and all of the rest of the particulars. And Danny, Chris's missus, is telling us Chris isn't far behind us. I'm like, landed. We've done the 2 checkpoints now. The cut-off times are great. People are going to sleep here. He comes in as we're about to leave, and he's like, "I'm going to have a little nap here. It's fine." And this next stage is like a 2-star. It's a transition stage, and it's just like rolling up through a forestry. It's literally checkpoint 2 and 3 on the road, like 200 meters up the road, but you just mess about in a forestry to get together, usual nonsense of making mileage up. So I'm like, great, we get to the next checkpoint. So me and Nick go off, and this is like in a forestry, and it turns out this is area where they do hunting, and they got little hunting traps and stuff. So he is out of his mind now with worry about bears, and starts doing this "hey bear" thing and creating noise. And I'm like, I don't like this. I'll just sing songs, because if you sing songs, I'm making noise, and I'm just having nonsense. We're having fun or whatever. But this, also like when you run in the dark, everything just seems to take longer. But and we're on this stage. We meet a guy called Wolfgang, who's like a Canadian, a naturalized Canadian from Germany. He's a nice guy. We're going back and forth. He's sticking with us. It just seems to take ages. We just seem to be running round in circles around this forestry. It's doing my absolute head in. And we hear bear noises. Noise. And the bear was like, "What's going on?" So we're just going a million miles an hour. And it's just surreal, right? So we get to the next checkpoint, and I had told Amy to just drive to the next checkpoint and let the kids sleep in the car. And she's like, no, the kids haven't got enough clothes. They're cold. We got to go home. We got to go to the Airbnb and get clothes. And I'm like, time we go to the Airbnb, you're going to be too tired to drive back. And I'm only going to be a few hours, 4 hours at most on this stage. So you're not going to be here when I get here. No. She's like, yeah, whatever. But she just makes that decision. And then makes the decision she's going to go to sleep there. And she'll get back in time. So I arrive, do all of the normal stuff that you do with the checkpoint stuff. Look for my family and they're not there because at the time I didn't know, but they were sleeping back at the ranch. So, but it's okay because Nick's father-in-law is there and they do a mere foot soak. And I'm just getting packed to go. And Amy and the family arrive. I'm like, okay, well, I want to change socks and shoes. That's just what I do. I'm a little stressed out about it, but not too much. The sun has started to come up. The day is starting. It's day 2. Everything is fine. And then Danny comes and said, look, Chris is only an hour behind you. And I'm like, right, this is it now. We can put the dream team together, back together, and we can do all of this together. So we just decide to stick around and mosey about and get to know. And like Paul's son is there, and he's a really nice guy, and everyone's getting to know each other. That community is starting to build now. All the other races, you're getting to know them. We're sticking around. Chris comes in and he's like, guys, I don't want the stress of you guys being faster and me thinking you're going slower. And I need to finish this. I'll run my own race. You crack on. I'm going to have a sleep here. And I'm like, right, but I was stressed out about it that we pushed on. So there's a little bit of that weight off my shoulder. I don't have to worry about that. And me and Nick are going to, so we leave together then. And the next stage is fantastic. But it's like another transition stage, but it's through thick forestry with nice trails, a lot of climbing and then descending, like rolling, descending through like tricky tree branches and logs over everywhere while there's epic landscape over here. And then you just end up on a gravel track that's like 40 million miles wide because they don't have narrow paths anyway. There's room for lots of cars, and there's like signs about the wildlife with bullet holes in here. Like what's going on there? And then so into the next checkpoint. I don't know where we're up to now, like 5. And we get into this checkpoint, and there's 2 ladies on there, and it's absolute nonsense from the time we get in. Nick's giving the big one, and they're saying, do you want anything? And he's like, shots, taking a piss, and they're like, oh, we got Fireball. And I'm like, yes, let's go. So he's like, yeah, we'll have a round of Fireball. And you know what, well, you probably don't know what it's like, but I think I'm going to have a Fireball and it's nonsense and I'm going to do it. They do the shots with us. All 4 of us are doing shots of Fireball in this aid station. And it turns out they've been dressed up as pickles for the entire thing. And the heat of the day is coming out. Now we're into the 30s and it's melting sort of hot. And they say it's too hot to wear these pickles. And Nick is giving the, well, I wanted you to dance for me in your pickle outfit. I'm like, you can't be saying stuff like that. Next thing I know, the pickle outfits are on, but they are feeding us pickle juice out of pickle jars while everyone's dancing and people are getting photos. And this is one of the stories. As she's pouring into Nick's mouth, she whispers in her, I wanted you to gargle it for me. Just absolute peak fucking nonsense, right? Absolute peak nonsense. Great time. So we rested and recuperated, and I had absolute nonsense in this checkpoint. This story is like legendary. Everyone's talking about this.
I haven't heard this yet.
I'll show you the picture after, because there's a picture of us being force-fed pickle juice. You think you were tripping at this, then never happened, but I got the evidence for it. But like there's this other dimension to this race, and I know you guys at home felt a little bit of this. There is absolutely no mobile phone signal. So my update videos, the time they arrive is like almost day after they happened. For the whole race, I'd say I had Wi-Fi even, because later I get Wi-Fi for like 12 hours the whole race. So there's that dimension of being isolated. Like you don't, like I usually, especially since my first Wild Horse, get a lot of motivation from the positive messages you guys are sending me while I'm doing it. That's half the reason why I post them, right? Because the feedback, I get a buzz off it, but there's none of that. There's none of even being able to talk to my crew. My crew are messaging me, and it's like already out of date. So there's that dimension to the race. So we leave that checkpoint, And we know it's a bit of a climb in the heat of the day and whatever. All of a sudden, the two of us get proper fucking heat exhaustion. And like, we're walking at a snail's pace, and I'm at max heart rate, breathing out of my ass, sweating like anything, thinking what is going on. So that like we're sitting down in the shade. I think I have a power nap for 10 minutes. Heart rate comes back down. You stand up, you walk 100 meters. All of a sudden, the sun is beating down, and you same thing again. And it's like a bit of experience. We just keep doing that. You plod, chip away. It'll be fine. So we're doing this, and this climb, like it would take you 30 minutes, but it takes us hours, right, to get up. And so we're on the top of the world. But as we get over the top of the world, we're also in line of sight to all the towns and villages that we're all staying in, which means cell phone service, which means uploading all of the videos and starting to get all the positive messages. And like, Nick is faster than me at walking, but I can still run a lot because he's still suffering from whatever was tight on him. So then it's descending, and I'm flying downhill. But then I walk on the flats, and he takes over me on the flats, and so there's a little bit of, and there's Wolfgang as well. The three of us, when it's downhill, the two of us take over, but then when it's walking, he catches up to Nick, and the two of them go off into the distance. So, but I mean, now we're in a world. Is the thing that I've not mentioned is the landscape just keeps changing. Even on our first climb, you'll be there, it'd be like on a moonscape. And then you'll be on like red clay mountain, and then you'll be on like sandy mountain, then you'll be in trees and vegetation. It just changes all of the time. But now we're into what feels like the desert, and it seems like it's some play park for these people in all-terrain vehicles, you know, like these quads. So, but you've got like crazy cowboys all winging it past you, like in convoys, smashing on these ATVs on these paths that are just their playground, and we are running on these things. So it's like juxtaposition of this new world that we're in. So while all of that is, we meet these couple of guys that are in. They've done the race from the start, and they're like wearing cowboy boots, cowboy trousers, shirt, and they're DNFing, right? And but we're like 100 kilometers into the race now. You've broken the back of it. So I give these guys a coach, and they really don't know what to do with Welsh people coaching them. What's going on? So there's that dynamic, and you know, we meet in people or whatever. But so this leapfrogging is happening between me, Nick, and Wolfgang, and my head's gone. I'm like, I'm just gonna head down now. The next checkpoint is the one that's inside in like this village hall. I'm just gonna get my head down, get there so I can sleep. And while this has happened, I've spoken to Amy, and I said to her, look, you guys have been sleep deprived. Take my sleeping bag and the stuff from my drop bag and put it in the checkpoint in the drop bag there, and then I'll sleep, and I'll give you a message, you come and meet me. But I get there, and she's decided no, she's going to come and meet me when I get there. But obviously all the predictions are wrong, and because I just put my head down, I've got there like an hour earlier than I said I was going to be there. So there's nobody there, and I want to sleep. I'm ready to sleep. So and I'm starting to get frustrated with all of this. But she comes, sleeping bag's there, and I go for a sleep. After I've spent an hour or 30 minutes waiting for it to arrive, but doing the eating and sorting your water out and all of that jazz, I'm brushing my teeth, and then I sleep, and I just sleep soundly for an hour and wake up, which is fine, but I was intending on sleeping for a couple of hours. So I message her, and then she comes and drives back, and at this point I'm starting to stress out and making Nick wait because he's ready to go, but then I'm waiting for Amy, and Amy's like my crew, and she's doing her bit. So that's fine, but I'm starting to stress out now that I'm making Nick wait for me. But then she sorts me out. We're on our way out of that checkpoint, and I've told that the next checkpoint is really difficult to drive to. You can have, because you can only have crew in very few on this race. Is very few places. The drop bags are weird because they're all different drop bags. So you've got to have kit for each one, which is why crew with your big drop bag is following you around. So I tell her, look, you're sleep deprived, don't bother the next one, so you can sleep. And the RV that Nick won't drive up. This is wild, mad country. So yeah, me and Nick out of this, and we're in a town now. Like these towns are weird. You don't know how they support so much infrastructure when there's like 100 people that live there. And we go under the highway, and there's like jigsaw puzzles being glued together and stuck on the wall. It's like all these little things that don't make any sense to you, especially when you're off your tits and arms slept for days. So, and then the biggest money box in the world is in a car park. I'm not making any of this up. And then all of a sudden, then you're into the trail, and there's this mountain that we're going to go up called Wedge Mountain, and I've seen Shep posting about it in the day, but like it's nighttime, so you got no sense of this, and some of it's just sandbanks that are near vertical, and I've heard stories of some people sliding backwards, like the sand. Me and Nick make it up. It is hairy as it's hairy as hell, and we struggle up there, and we go through this stage. And then we meet, and me and Nick are really getting to know each other now. He's telling me his life story, and I realise, in my perception of him, he's like this clear-cut person, and he's absolutely full nonsense like me. You have preconceptions about people too. So I'm getting to know Nick. He's telling me all of his life story, and I'm not much of a talker anyway, especially when I'm in a paint hole. I'm just like head down, thinking about things. So yeah, we meet Paul, that old gent that I told you, and his son, and Andrea we meet later, apparently is there, but I don't know, and he's having trail naps, which he talks about in his podcast of how he handles the sleep deprivation. He's having like a little trail nap, so we pass them, and this stage then, it just feels like it feels like you're running up snow, and you are. This is like usually a snow resort, right? So you're running up snow paths and down snow runs usually in between the trees, and it just feels like conifers everywhere. And it's night time, so you can't see anything. And then, I think at the last checkpoint, it might have been, I think it was at the last checkpoint we started to get the news about the bear attack and the fact that there's going to be a diversion. But it's more of a whispering. At that point, I think they were holding people at checkpoints. So there's now not just this outside idea that bears can do bad things to you and you've got to use your bear spray. But now it's happened and it's real and it's happening on the mountain. So now there's even more of a perception of, oh, shit's real, right? And you can see Nick's got his bear spray locked and loaded so he can get it out, and we're messing about now. How many seconds can you get till you get your gun out, and are you fired and ready? Because that's supposedly the thing with bear spray is most people end up shooting themselves in the face with it. It gets misdeployed because they're in fear and they don't know what to do, which in itself's wild, right? We don't have this at home. So yeah, next checkpoint we get into there. Just trying to think, and it's nice. We have some food. We're getting to know everyone. I'm sort of sure the story's now starting to get a little bit boring because it's more of the same. Out of that checkpoint, then this is still the normal route before everyone before the diversion happens. And it's like fire trail for 10 miles of it, and then it goes into proper Great Divide Trail, just switching back in beautiful landscapes inside the canopy, right? So, but we're on this fire trail, and they call cows burger bears, because when you look at them and you just see the flash of fur, you're like, it's a fucking bear, and then it just moo, and they're just everywhere in the middle of the mountain. So there's burger bears everywhere, but they're complaining like there could be something around, so you're always in this heightened state of anxiety. So yeah, that's all going on. We're going through this, we're going into the great, and it's just epic landscape. I think you've seen my photos, but you just pop out and it's just mountains behind you and sheer rock faces, and all the stones are everywhere that are clearly fallen over millennia. It's just absolutely glorious. Like, the photos don't do it justice. But then you just teetering through this single track through the forestry, and you're loving life, but it just seems to go on and on. You're going over one valley between two mountains. No, there's another one, and sleep deprivations at this point. I've had 1 hour and 10 sleep, and it's day 3, and I'm coping with a lot less, but still I'm beginning to struggle a bit, especially when we're walking. When we're running, we're fine, but when I'm walking, I'm starting to slow everything down. Into the next checkpoint, this is where the diversion is, and I'm grumpy because the diversion, I don't know if you've heard about the bear attack. Have you seen all the media about that?
I didn't really see much. I saw that there was one and that there was a diversion, but that was about it.
Oh, you should check my story, because so there's a bear attack, and there's this place that I'm talking about now called Window Mountain Lake. So it's the nicest part of the trail, and I'm upset that they're diverting it. It's like this lake with this mountain in the back, but there's like a hole in the mountain and the window, and then the sun does shine through it, and it's this beautiful vista and whatever. So in the front runners are coming through the forestry, and all of a sudden they hear bear attack noises of bears and screaming, and there's like these campers being attacked by grizzly bears, and he tells a story of him and his pacer looking at each other and saying, right, well, it doesn't matter what happens to us, we have to save these people. So they switch their lights on and get their sticks and start running and making loads of noise, and ended up scaring the grizzlies, which is not usually the way. You're supposed to leave grizzlies alone and play dead and whatever, but they managed to scare them off. Like a beautiful story, but yeah, like crazy level of what happened. It's worth watching or going back and listening to the perspective. I think I re-grammed or whatever to look at the story. So yeah, there's lots of this nonsense. Do you want me to continue? Or?
Yeah, keep going.
So we get to this aid station. I'm grumpy. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's all the stuff is sort of packed away. So they're getting stuff out for you. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I'm not getting to go to my nice place. And you know when you can see the checkpoint below there, but like the paths, it's just switchbacks. And we're not talking about switchbacks like in Wales, where we're talking about I could step over on one step over onto the next path of the switchback, and it's not downhill or something. It's on the same level. Like, what's the point in doing this? So you can understand why I'm grumpy going into this checkpoint, because you don't want to cut any corners. Yet, what's the point in it? So get into this checkpoint, and then the diversion they've used, and somebody who done the race in the night is commenting. They use, because they've had to do it in a hurry to do this diversion. They've used like green tape tied to trees, just a bit of green tape. But obviously at night, green against green background. Now, do you see that? We saw it fine because, you know, it's in the day and it's a bright green. But at night, they're struggling. So we make our way through this diversion. And there's another man, in another story, some guy got chased by a moose through this section. Like, a moose is going at it. So, yeah, there's loads of these little crazy stories. And I really wanted to see a moose. Didn't get to see one. And this is also lovely trail, but, you know, you're spoiled at this point. You just want things. And there's like these Turtle Mountain in the back with these Seven Sisters. I think that's the one of the Seven Sisters. It's just beautiful landscape. And the back of Window Mountain, you can start to see this hole or whatever as we're going up. And the next checkpoint is the one where these guys from the outdoor shop are going to be, and they've got their pizza, their stone baked pizza, their uni sort of thing going on, and it's in like a campsite. And me and Nick pick our way up back onto the trail we would have been on originally, and we can see where Mars above. We can see where we're going to be, right? And it's just like this steep, beautiful cutting in descent, stroke single track end up through the forest to there. And I start to get a mobile phone signal, so I'm starting to try to send my messages and send my videos and whatever. I'm just getting them on Instagram, not bothering editing or writing any posts, just getting them up so people can see them or whatever. So I also don't want people worrying, and I'm starting to get messages in. So I'm falling a bit back off Nick. But that's fine, because I can descend fast. I'll catch up with him. And then Nick's just, like, this is going on for like an hour. And then Nick's just out of sight. My watch turns off. And I didn't know what had gone wrong. I do know now what had gone wrong. But my watch goes off. And I'm like, oh, well, that's a pain in the backside. So I'm sitting there trying to reboot it, and obviously not wanting to go very much further because it's not going to count anymore, because it's not going to be on Strava, right? So waiting for it to reboot, and it takes ages to reboot, loading maps and whatever, and it comes back online, and switches off immediately, and I'm like, well, I need to be pragmatic about this, get to the next checkpoint, and I'll charge it, and we'll see what. It turns out, when you get your watch, or these watches, they tend to be with the region that you're living in, maps, right? Which I found out while on the way. So I downloaded the North America maps, which took all night, which is another reason I didn't sleep so well the day before the race. Took all night, and I filled my watch up then with the European and the US maps, that it got to the point that it couldn't save any more data, and it crashed the watch to the point it had to throw the whole file away, so I didn't have any of the race to be able to continue. And that then continued to happen. It's only on Strava because Nick tagged me in it. So I'm getting a bit disappointed. You know, I've done the race of my lifetime, and it's not going to be on Strava. You're not thinking cognitively properly. You know, you're in this world. But then I come to terms with it, and I was like, yeah, whatever. The race is still the race. you're here for the joy of it. You should stop being a knob and get on with it. So then I'm starting to enjoy just trail running through the forest. Mobile phone signal's gone, and the way these guys tag races, they don't even understand where it's like you'll be stood at the like the marker, which they've tied from a tree, and there won't be a meter before there's another one. But it's like that for 200 miles. 200 miles they put that many markers up. It's just wild. So it's fine. I am going to watch. I'll just follow these markers. But at some point, there's like a mixture between the usual ones, which is like orange and white with all their labels on, and just orange ones, right? But these orange ones are exactly the same as the green ones they used for the remarking it earlier on. And then I'm running, and all of a sudden, the orange and white ones are gone, the official ones are gone away. It's just these orange ones, and I'm following these orange ones, and it's going in the general direction. I know where this campsite is, and then all of a sudden it starts going in the complete opposite direction to these. And I'm like, this is a bit odd, but trails go back and around, it's fine. And then I go about a mile further, and then they disappear completely. And I've got no mobile phone signal. It's getting dark. I'm in the thick forestry now, in the middle of flipping nowhere. There's no trail signs. I am going to watch the thing, no mobile phone signal, and I start to have an absolute meltdown that I'm going to die, that I've been a flipping idiot, I'm lost, I have no scheme, no ways. I'm like proper spiraling now. Eventually, and we're talking like a good 5 minutes of me, like I think I'm trying, I'm like a bit of a mess. I've been a stupid idiot. What am I doing going all the way across the world? Proper spiraling. And then I think, well, if I retrace my steps, because I can see them orange markers behind me, at least I can go back to where there's a mobile phone signal, and I might have DNF'd, I might be out of the race, but at least then I can talk to people and we can see what's going on. I haven't even thought about the fact I've got a tracker on me and I can get an SOS if I needed to. I'm not thinking straight. I'm sleep deprived, whatever, sue me. But I'm in a bit of a mess, and then I retrace my steps, and these orange tags, there's a fork in them, and I hadn't noticed the first time, so I go down the other fork, and that does the same thing. So I'm like, you clown. So I go back again, and then as I'm going back, knowing that if I come up the tree line, I'll have a mobile phone signal again, I see the actual official ones just randomly going to the forest. So I'm back onto them now, and I'm worried about being timed out at this stage, because I've messed about. I think I had plenty of time, but that's where my head is. And I start seeing competitors running towards me. Now in my mind's eye, I've managed to cut the course somehow, and I'm going backwards on the course, but I'm like, how much is the checkpoint? And they're like, it's 5 minutes up there. I stack it then. I trip over my feet and flipping full on stack it into the floor, covered in dust, like proper mess. And I come in, like, it felt like half hour. It probably was 5 minutes, but in my mind it was half hour until I got to the checkpoint. And everyone's celebrating. My family are all happy. My kids are playing in the park. Nick is there, and I'm like ready to give up now. Like life is over. But I have a moment. Get some food into me. Everyone talks me back into the game, and like that was my. And I start to charge my phone, and Nick says, "Look, I can tag you in the Strava file. You don't have to worry about the Strava file. That's nonsense." And I'm like, actually, what are you being an absolute clown for? And I'm also cognizant I've made Nick wait for like a couple of hours for something when I was just with him, and he don't know what's going on. But I do all of the stuff, bathe my feet, change my socks, everything's back in the game, and everything's great. I leave that checkpoint, and now we got like a 2-star stage, so mostly on road, right? Out of there, and I'm running now, and I got Nick to run, and we're running quite fast. We go wrong a mile, because that's how much we chat, and we're all happy. We retrace our steps, go back on the path, and we're getting to the tarmac. We're running, everything's fine. Nick's starting to struggle with the pace, so we dial it back. Next thing I know, I'm falling asleep on my feet. I'm running, and I'm waking up as I'm running. I'm having like I think I talked about it on the last episode where I woke up in midair on a bike. I'm having what I call the dozies, but this is like, it turns out, or it feels like that this is like, for when you got SUVs or 4-wheel drive cars and you fuck about and there's like tracks with like things to go up on 2 wheels. It's like that kind of track. I don't know if that's true, but that's what we thought it was at the time. You would just be there, and the path will change into like 70 meters long with all of these obstacles in the way on a tarmac. You're like, what? And the tarmac's got bricks in it and all sorts. Don't know what's going on. Your brain can't process it. We have no sleep, so we're in our world. This, and I'm proper in the state, and then like Nick is motivating me, like talking me into the game and keeping me alive because I'm like an idiot now. I'm happy to just fall asleep in a river, and all of a sudden he shouts to me and he points, right. It turns out, well, I run. I think that's the way. He's telling me the way. It turns out there's cougars there staring at us, and I'm running at the cougars, and he's trying to reclaim me before I get eaten. And I'm looking, and I'm like, what? It's a cougar. And this thing's looking at me, and I'm like, it's only little. And thankfully, it didn't run at me. It ran away. And then we see two of them just there. And apparently, to see cougars is like really rare. You like people in Canada all their life, and they don't see cougars. And we've seen a pair of them in quite almost an urban area that they're praying about. Obviously, they don't expect to see a couple of Welshmen and idiots running through their territory. And like, yeah, we're loving life. We get into the next checkpoint. The next checkpoint is the one that we were at before that we slept in, and we're going to sleep in there. I think I have a couple of hours in there, and then the fun bus is started properly. Now this is in my mind the last day. The speaker's back on. I think Nick provided a video, and we're playing the boys dancing, going up the mountain. The sun is rising. Life is good. We've broken down the next step. No stage is more than about 23 kilometers. There's some climbs in these 23 kilometers. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a beautiful day, and we're gonna love life. And then we come across. We're walking. We come across Andrea, the lady. She's like done 200 miles this year, or 200 miles. She's going to be the woman that's done the most 200 miles in 1 year. And she comes on the fun bus, and she's, like Nick is chewing her ear about the wild horse and how she should come over to Wales. I think we've convinced her, and we think we convinced Paul as well, and we think we convinced loads of people to come over. I mean, we were Wales and wild horse on tour, right? But she's loving Welsh culture, and when Rhys had said that he wasn't able to come because of his hips and not being ready to come and do a divide, I had said to him, in his honour, there's this, I don't know if you've seen all of the marketing emails for the divide, but there's this thing where one of the peaks that's on the divide, they leave like these coins that you've got to collect, and you've got to keep with you, and you've got to get it back, and you haven't completed the race unless you kept this coin safe. So you've got to go up this pass to get this coin. And I had said to Rhys that when I collected this coin, I was going to sing and live broadcast to him, Cal and Lan singing. And Nick's like, I want to do it too, but I don't know the words. So I'm like, well, we got like hours now doing this stage. I'm going to teach you the words. So she's enjoying us teaching him Cal and Lan, and I'm trying to teach it phonetically to him, right? So there's that going on. She's also loving the vibe, right? Because we're playing music and it's just nonsense. The fun, but it's the fun bus. Everyone loves the fun bus, and I think she was in a dark place too, right? So we're enjoying, but then it starts to fucking piss down, and it's like nobody likes rain, but this is Canadian rain, right? It's weeing down. We come into the checkpoint, and like Canadians are wild with their health and safety. They got a propane fire pit burning inside the tents, right? So we're in this checkpoint. This is happening. Everyone's just tying their clothes over the fire to dry them off. I'm like, it's like a foot. The flames are coming up. There's all kinds of nonsense. So we're having nonsense in this checkpoint. Everyone's eating food, combinations of noodles and I don't know, like mashed potato, all kinds of nonsense going on. We're getting to know new people, but it's wet and everyone's soaking, and I'm like, wet feet now. I know where this meet, and there's obviously the part of life of that, but it's great. It's great trail, but now it starts getting slippy and muddy, and there's beavers that have blocked. Real beavers that have blocked up a stream just to make it marshy to piss you off that you've got to wade through. It's all kinds of little bits of nonsense, and then we're going up this mountain, and the GPS is like, it goes like that, and you can't go like that. That's like dropping off a cliff. There's like switchbacks and all sorts of stuff going on, and then we get into the final checkpoint. Oh no, it's checkpoint 12. And it's on the mountain. It's like an alpine mountain. It's just like a gazebo at the end, and you know that this mountain pass is just up the top of this climb. So we go in there. I think we have a coffee, but we'll have a proper munch when we come back. And we're going up this climb, and now everyone is going away from me. I'm the one holding everyone back, and this is like the pinnacle point, right? It's all downhill from here, right? You get to the top, and it's downhill to the checkpoint, and then it's a reasonably it turns out not so easy, but it's like the final stage. So everyone's pulling away from me, but it's like, it looks like it's just around the corner. And the joy of this stage is people who've been to the top start coming past you, so you start seeing people for the first time, and everyone's like high-fiving and punching. You're almost there, just round the corner. It's not just round the corner, it's just every flipping switchback is just round the corner. And then I decide, right, I'm just going to head down. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna lock in like you locked in at the end of the program. I'm in that state of mind, and I'm coming up, and Nick is there, and we can see the end now. And there's a photographer who's just cycled up there to take photos of us. And Nick's like, you need electrolytes. So I was like, what are you on about? He's like, you got runner's lean. And I was proper like Kaz was at the end of the race.
I was just thinking of that. Eileen.
And she's like, he's feeding me electrolytes, and I'm like, I'm fine. What are you on about? And I'm leant over to one side, and he's losing his mind for that. So, but it goes from like trees and grass to like just rocks and moonscape, and you're in the middle of nowhere. You can't breathe, but you can see it there. And we get there, and there's like this plastic box with these coins in. We do our video. You've all seen the video. It's great. And then we see these little creatures that I've never seen before, marmots or something. And apparently these live at high levels in alpine places. I think I'm tripping, and these are like made up alien creatures. What the hell is going on? I've obviously heard of the brand marmot, but I didn't know they were a real creature or whatever. But this is wild. We're seeing these little things, and it's downhill, right? I can't run. I'm leaning. And I'm walking, everyone's going out in front, and I'm just leaning and walking. So it starts to piss down again, and now as we go back into the tree line, get the checkpoint, have some coffee or whatever, but it's downhill, it won't take long. And now the sleep deprivation for me is getting, it is full on, and I'm soaking head to foot wet. I've got, I don't know, 3 hours and 10 minutes in 4 days, and I'm expect to be finished before now. So the sleep deprivation's coming in, and then the path is like you'll be walking along, and then all of a sudden it's like a puddle that's 3 foot deep, but you can sort of climb through the bushes to the side. So we're having to navigate all of that while my brain is not working. And then Andrea flipping legs from under her flipping almost falls down the other side of it, and it turns out there was a drop down there as well. So we're trying to, well, Nick is trying to help, but I can't work it out. I can't work life out, and I can't even work out if my feet are working at this juncture. And then I'm like falling asleep again, and I'm like, Nick, I need to sleep. He's like, you can't sleep. It's too cold. Like it's like 3 or 4 degrees. I'm shivering. He's like, I'm like, I can't continue. I gotta sleep. So then he's stood there, and I'm lying down against his legs, trying to sleep, and I'm like, I can't sleep. And then I do like, I don't know, 200 or 300 meters, and I need to sleep. Eventually I have like, I don't know, a couple of, enough to nod off and come back and be cognizant enough to run again. So then we're running like that, or we've been going really slow, and I'm tripping out. I absolutely believe that I'm in a simulation, and this is made up, and like some game creator has decided to just take the same bridge over a river, some puddles, and then a bit of tarmac, and he's just repeating it over and over again, and it's just recycling these 3 world maps to me, and they just do my head, and I'm shouting at Nick, and he's like, what are you on about? It's like the world's simulation, they're trolling me. He's like, you just sleep deprived, it's fine. It's like, we've been here before, it's rubbish, it's going to take hours. He's like, it's just a mile down the road, and like you said that a mile ago, you're lying to me, stop lying to me. So yeah, all kinds of nonsense there. And eventually we get to the next checkpoint, and obviously I'm gonna have to sleep. And there's a flipping fire in the room, and Amy's there sorting my stuff out. And then there's like this, I'm looking for my sleeping bag, and apparently, at the time, we believe that my drop bag's been lost, which has got my sleeping bag in it. Drop bag hasn't been lost. This drop bag is not coming to this checkpoint. It never did, and Amy's having an argument, so they're trying to appease me and Amy that nobody made a mistake. I'm just sleep deprived, and I've decided to make up something that's not true. But they sort me out some sleeping bag, and I go to sleep for a couple of hours with a fire in the tent underneath me. Don't make any sense. And my feet are sorted out. Somebody's given me one of these silicone things, so my toes fallen off, and put it over my feet. And Andrea's decided she's going to wait for us because we've all run together. I hope that's her name. My brain's terrible for names. And then eventually I have a nice sleep, get up, I'm all fed. Me and Nick then can't find Andrea, so we got everyone knocking toilets looking for her and all, because she's waiting for us, right? And we don't want to leave without her. Turns out she'd left, because we were faster than her, and then we'd catch her up. We catch up with her on the stage. There's lots of singing, lots of fun. Get into the light on the home straight, and then me and Nick want to finish, right, holding the Welsh flag. We were discussing how we're going to do it. And I'm like, well, we've ran with Andrea this whole time. We made the three of us together. She can be honorary Welsh person for the day. And then I run in a little bit, and then Andrea comes over the top of me, and I'm like, well, that's decided that she's off. We'll run together. It'll be fine. And then we start running, and we go over the top of her, but like we're all running at our own pace. And then it's like we're at the river, across a river crossing. They've made like a little wooden bridge, all lovely, picturesque. Imagine, you're on a John Smith advert or a the salmon advert. It's beautiful landscape. We're running, and we start taking over people, and then Nick's like, we've had enough running now, I think we should walk. And I'm like, you're gonna fuck right up. We started going over people now. We're on our finish. No walking now. It's running into the finish. We go across the bridge. The Welsh flag's out. I've seen the video of Shep that he's got me a gate to run in. We're holding the flag through town. We're running through we're so fast through the finish. They're all scrambling to get the cameras. If you see from our perspective, we can see them, and they're all in the house, all having a cup of tea, running to get the videos because we're too fast for them. And the rest is history. Don't think I forgot much, but I'm sure I have.
I mean, 200 miles, there's a lot that's going to happen in that time.
Yeah, I feel like, I'm sorry, it's the very monologue-less, but like, I've been ruminating on this, and I know some of it's boring, some of it's interesting, but like, it's an adventure, like I think Jenks said when he came out that he understood why I do these things, and why I keep doing the wild horse. And it's like, usually you do something and the first one's always brilliant and it's never the same. It's not the truth. Every 200 miles I've done, 200 miles is so ridiculous. Every one I do is an adventure. And it's days of your life where you haven't got any other responsibility. Your responsibility is the race, and it's like a pilgrimage. Like this, that's why I do it. That's why I love it. And hopefully you've got some insight into some of that.
Yeah. I've not experienced it, but I got a glimpse of it doing the 6, because obviously it's the back-to-back days of like, all I got to do is run.
Yeah.
That's all I got to worry about. And I've got a crew looking after me. I've got these checkpoints. But you're doing it with other people as well. Like, you're doing it with Nick, and it's like you meet other people on that same sort of
journey. Like.
Yeah.
But even, like, they all have their own micro stories. Like, I've just said some of the stories there, and you hearing that, it's that perspective. It just adds colour to it, because you watch a TV show and it's always two-dimensional, right? But there's multi-dimensional to every experience, everyone, and that, like, talking about what the Bay people did, learning about what you and George did before we caught up to you. It just adds, like, it's an adventure with lots of like side quest stories that I just love it.
Yeah, just imagine if like we got everyone together that did the Divide this year.
Yes.
Did a podcast with like all of them and just made it like one giant episode. Yeah. And it's like the amount of stories that you would get, like not just from the event, but like the build up and everyone's own personal journeys going into it.
Well, do you know when you watch them sort of documentaries of like a race team going into like Formula One or it's like that, right? But it's like, it's more real. It's the human beings. It's like professional sport is lush, but you also got to try and remove the variables. Where there's loads of chaos and variables, it just adds to the nonsense.
Yeah.
Like the 6 and 6, but I don't know. I don't think you've told anyone, but you're doing. Have you talked about your owners challenge on the?
Yeah, it's public now. It's out on Instagram. I've put it. It's going to be talked about. Rich talked about it a little bit, and then I've just done my episode, which will come out a week before this one. So I talk about it a little bit there.
But you haven't really talked about the fact that you're going to do the Epona as well on the real timeline.
No.
And you're going to do the Devona after having done back-to-back the Epona Sirona. Again, the Epona second time. So you're doing Epona and Devona at the right time and doing them extra. Well, not the Devona because you do that at the right time. Then doing the Sirona in between that you're only going to do once because you ate. And you did mention that. On podcast. And like Rich, I think you'll be surprised at how much you'll enjoy it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But you haven't mentioned that I'm going to do it with you.
No. I didn't want to put it out there because that's your news to share.
Yeah, fair. But I also didn't want to share it until I'd finished my season. Then.
Yeah. So I was wondering when you was gonna say about that.
Well, like I haven't talked about my plans next year, I guess, but it all depends on this hernia and what the operation and timescales for that. But yeah, I plan to do the Super Dance Slam again, and then do this nonsense owner series with you and
Yeah.
do the Devona in one.
See, the thing, you got my because you wasn't originally going to be doing your Super Dance Slam.
Yes.
And you was just going to be like, yeah, I'll just do those and I'll do like a few
And the
extra
wild
bits.
horses,
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. And then it was literally, yesterday that I found out that you was going to do the Super Dance Slam again.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're literally going to go Rhythm, 2 days off,
Yeah.
then the owner series.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Yeah, but
what?
we talk. In fact, you talked a lot on Richard's podcast about this always trying to do something extra, and I think you said me and you it's like I'm happy to fail. I'm looking to fail. I'm trying to find that failure point, and in my mind, the Super Dance Slam. If we're in a state on the Epona, I'm struggling. I just won't do the Serona, right? It won't be that big a deal to keep the dance slam in check. But obviously, that's not going to happen. I'm going to do all three. But like that's where I will be with it. Whereas for you, those are your three. You have to do them. I have that in the bag. But also, I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to do all three. And the thing for me is, it's really a 300, right? You keep saying that there's 3 100s back to back, but it's a 300.
Yeah, with some driving in the middle.
Well, yeah, but that's the sleep stages, right? On a 300. And it's quite a lot of driving, right? Because from Epona to Serona is quite a way.
It's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Which is a long sleep on a 200.
Yep.
It's lush.
And then, yeah, the Devona route hasn't been released, but there's that.
The routes change all the time, right?
Yeah.
Even the wild horse changes just a week before, but it's pretty much there, right? It's there on his. Well, he's going to spite us now and change it because that's the way he is. But you got an idea where in the world it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
And that's quite close to where the Serona ends.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So that one's going to be like
the opponent, and that's kind of useful because the Serona logistics, because of the fact it's a point to point, is quite complicated. So it takes that complexity away. It's going to be mental now.
Yeah, it is going to be amazing.
Considering you've got no interest in doing 200 miles, you're going to do 300 instead.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, does it excite me? Yes or no? Like,
yeah, of course.
This excites me. Wild horse, I don't know why. Like, it just doesn't. There's nothing about wild horse that interests me.
Yeah, but I think it's because it's not novel, right? Like the wild horse is an event; it's always there.
Well, you say that, but like Epona as a singular event really interests me. I can't wait for Epona.
Yeah, I guess we're all different because I did the Epona because it was there. I didn't I've done it twice, and even the first time, and I was listening to talk to Rich, and you were talking about how you preferred all the colorways. Like, no way, Serona stuff's far more superior. There's no pink on it. What are you on about? But like, yeah, I don't think of it like there's some parts of it that are nice, but there's a lot of it to me that's quite boring, and it just shows how different we are. Because like coastal to me is the best, and you're like, nah, I'm doing that once because I have to.
Yeah.
We're all cut from different cloth, right? But the wild horse, like South, let's not talk about the Mid Wales because I haven't got much context yet of that. But the South Wales, the course is beautiful, right? There's a little bit of course, but it's mostly the beacons, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it's on the Epona.
Yeah. And like, but I don't know, there's just, I don't look at that and I don't be like, oh yeah, I really want to do that. And I've seen all the videos and there was so much coverage this year of it.
Yeah.
That like, even I thought like, oh, it's going to make me want to do it. And I just haven't had that moment of like usually if I want to do something within minutes, I've signed up.
Yeah, fair.
Just because it clicks. And I haven't even made it to the website because I'm like, there's nothing there that makes me want to do it.
That's fair. I think though, once you do the owner series, once you do that extra time, the mentality of because like I've been doing ultra marathons now for some time, but I feel like 100 miles is just a new level. Something changes, but 200 miles is where where I absolutely flourish, right? And I think it's because of that sleep deprivation, and now you're into managing different problems that you don't have.
Yeah.
It's not just your body, and like Rich said, there's a lot of mental into it, but there's like mental fatigue that you have to have mental. Like your brain don't work, and you have to solve these problems, and that is beautiful. Like it's life's comfortable, right? And this is properly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think once you experience that, you'll be
Well,
like,
I'm more interested in the divide.
like 100%.
Yeah.
Like they got a race this weekend, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was there. And 100% I'm going back. It's like a double black diamond version of a 200 mile.
I think once I've done the owner series, if I'm, because like, you know what I'm like I'll just be like done with running now. Like,
Yeah.
what else do I do? So if I'm still into running, I think I'll be looking more at like international
Yeah.
rather than like, I think I'd have just got to the point where I'm like, I've completed Wales now.
Yeah, you're talking to someone who's had like the whole Dan Slam being back on. I came back and thought, well, I've enjoyed racing abroad. Let's see what's in the world. Let's see what's in Europe. And I looked at everything 200 mile and up in Europe, and I wasn't that impressed. Like there's UTMB, which is a bit of a commercial circle jerk, right? And that's not. I mean, I want to tick it off, but just for ticking it off's sake, I don't fancy it. I'm sure, like I want to run there, but the commercial element, it's not for me. I don't like it. And then what? There's a race across Scotland that looks kind of nice, but it's not the place in Scotland I'd want to race across. I want to go right across the middle of the mountains, right?
Yeah.
And the Northern Traverse is not 200 miles, so it's quite close, but it's not 200 miles, so it don't count. And then there's the Dragon's Back, you know, another commercial operation. It's a stage race. It's not the same. Again, it's Wales, so I want to tick it off, but and it's hard, but it doesn't appeal to me the same. It's just a ticking off exercise. And then there's one down in the Downs, the South Downs and the North Down and whatever, and it's in winter, but like it's not that, like I did my Duke of Edinburgh down there. It's not that inspiring down there. It is, but it's not mountains. Yeah. It is, right. It's hard underfoot. Choke stuff is hard, and I'll do it, or it's on the list, but it's not like a divide where I want to spend all your training and changing my life for it. And then there's the hard stuff, you know, the Mark Cockbain stuff, which is absolutely nonsense that I want to do, but that's the different thing, right? That's next level complexity, and running back and forth in a tunnel appeals, but I feel like I need to get my fitness to another level to that, and I'm with you. Like I feel like I completed Wales. How do I keep the joy of wanting to break myself and find the breaking point, but actually be bothered? Because it's not necessarily looking for harder and harder stuff. It's looking for stuff that interests you and thinks it's going to challenge you, and is starting to think of maybe you should go to Norway and jump out of the back of a ferry or something.
It's just this. I think this is where I go down my personal challenges, and I'm like, I want to flip a tire for a marathon, and complete nonsense that there's not even like events for, and it's like, well, I'm gonna make my own event. Like, fuck this.
I think you should do that anyway. But like, and there's a joy in that. You know, I run around a roundabout, and I intend to do 100 miles around that same roundabout. But there is also, like just described, the three-dimensional shared aspect of doing it with other people, and that doesn't happen so much. That's not true though, because your 6 and 6 taught me that when a community comes around, galvanizes around achieving something, there is all of that extra dimension, and that's like, I was worried when I said I was going to do the owner series with you that you'd think like I was trying to steal the limelight for what you're trying to achieve, and you were like, nah, it's nonsense. I'm in. And 100%, like, yes, it's a joy. But like, if you and very likely so are off in the distance, and I'm on my own. That just adds to the nonsense of it. You've got a front story, I got a back story. And I'm sure there'll be back and forth thing going on. I love it. I mean, like the sleep deprivation. I know you don't sleep very much anyway, but I think that makes it harder for you, right? And that adds an aspect to it. I'm just waiting to see how it all plays out. And 300 miles is a new level of nonsense. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Like I'm with you. I do feel like it's not about necessarily looking for something bigger. It's just looking for something that excites you, and you've got to continue to do that. And the problem is for me is I started to let myself go a bit to make it harder because it wasn't hard enough anymore. And then I found 200 miles and it was hard enough, and I needed to do quite a lot, which was great, but not enough. The divide has got me to what I consider for me to be an athletic level of performance. And finding you, right? The whole idea of adventure athletes, the idea of just being ready for anything, just struck a chord with me. But now keeping that, again, I've been here before, and it's quite easy for you to fall off that and to lose that spark. I'm worried about that myself, and not in a trying to find the next bigger thing, but keep myself interested and motivated. And I am a dopamine fiend. I am seeking novelty all of the time, and some of that I create by nonsense and having the fun bus and enjoying and creating joy for everyone. That it creates that spark. But yeah, so it's a concern, and like as has been evidence with this injury this year, I ain't gonna live forever. you gotta take as much as it is you can when you can.
Yeah.
And like I know you 6 and 6 broke you a bit, right? And that has had a net effect of not being able to do the stuff that you like. It's a tightrope, right? And I love the tightrope, but when you fall off the wrong side of it, you have to deal with the consequences, right?
Yeah. But you wouldn't get that reward without the risk, so...
Oh, absolutely. You wouldn't even try if it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, I'm content with the failure, but when the failure is catastrophic, it means you can't exercise at all. And like, this operation is going to be potentially 6 to 8 weeks doing nothing. And I know what that's like, and it's not a nice place. And will I come back from that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Having something in the calendar, having all these plans in the calendar is great, but if it eats into that, it means I can't do it. Then what do I do then? I don't know. Like that's the bit of the stuff that we do. I know people talk about the post-race blues, but they don't talk about the post-injury recovery blues and then overtraining, trying to compensate and all of that stuff. It's art.
Yeah.
And all the bulletproofing we've done to me all year, that can't change from a medical condition that needs an operation. Like, and you twist an ankle, you break a bone from a fall. There's nothing you can do to strengthen condition. You can't make yourself out of titanium, right? You like your body.
Yeah, injuries still happen.
Injuries still happen.
Like I can never, as much as we call it bulletproofing, like I can never make you bulletproof.
No.
Like,
well,
things happen.
You can do the best for what you expect to happen, but the unexpected happens, and like you control the controllables, right?
But it's like just even being a person, like things are going to happen, and the fact that you are more active, you've got that higher risk of doing like overuse injuries and impact injuries because you're putting yourself in those situations.
Yeah.
And it's like, as resilient as will make your body, you're still going to get injured. But you just have to outweigh that and be like, well, I'd rather have that risk of injury and doing these things than being unhealthy and leading an unhealthy lifestyle and all of that. And
it is complex though, because I do know a lot of people talk about the amount of stuff that I do, and that it's a bit it is ridiculous, but like I do back off the pace. I do have a fun bus and don't push myself, because I realise and I can feel when I'm at the risk of injury that I back off a little bit, and that's taken years to develop. But it is that tightrope of you deciding sometimes I'm going to push because I want to push. Like another part of my plan next year is I'm going to try next year. I'm not going to ease off. I'm going to actually have a bit of going for it next year. I'm not going to run with other people. I'm going to see what that level of the field is. I'm not expecting to win or anything, but I want to see what I'm capable of. And that's getting world of road running. I'm not into road running, but it's more because I'm not living to my potential. What does that mean? What does that feel? Because I've tasted a little bit of that over the last couple of years, especially this year. It's a joy, and I know you've done and I like doing the opposite of it, which is to take myself to breaking point. But you did that in the Edam, right? You did that in the Edam. And then that carries the risk of what does that mean to the rest of your season? And is that worth that risk? Because usually I'd be like, it's not, but I'd like to see how I cope with that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I really did get to a breaking point in that race.
You went over it too, and
And then the next day, it's getting up the next day. This is what I've been telling everyone. It was like, I thought it was hard day 3, Fogham,
yeah,
and I was like, I'm in a little bit of pain, and
yeah.
I have to get in the zone a bit here, but I was still running, as we
You
clearly
locked in.
captured
Yeah, yeah.
on that last section, and you can see like my running is still running.
Oh yeah,
It was
100%.
good form. Like there wasn't anything really there.
No, there was clearly like soreness, you could see, but it was running. It was
Yeah.
mechanically running.
And then I did the same on the Piggin, where like that's where I was really starting to feel the fatigue. But then it got to bits, and I was like, set myself these mini goals of like, I want to run up Sugarloaf. And then I get to Sugarloaf, and I hadn't told anyone I was going to do it, and I start running. And then I've got like Joe behind me just being like, what the fuck? Like, how is he running up Sugarloaf? And she was like reminiscing to when she did Pigham and was like, I wasn't running up this bit, and I had done 1 ultra, and he's on 4.
Yes.
And he's running up. And then to then come into Abergavenny doing 4-minute Ks, she was just like, what the fuck? And it's like, people thought I was broken then, and I thought I was broken then, but then I'm doing that, and it's like, how broken really was I?
Yeah, but it's that 60% thing, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
When you think you're done, you still got loads left.
And then I get to the Edam, and I do break myself, and we know that I broke myself. And then I get to the Ridden.
You're still running. It's not mechanically sound, but you're still running.
Yeah.
Running there, right?
But you can see that there's something not right.
yeah,
100%.
100%.
And then it's like,
behind you.
yeah. And then you get to like, it's like, all right, now I'll go to sleep, and I get 2 hours sleep because we finished late,
Yeah.
long drive back, have to be up early to be at the start line of Ridden at 7.
Correct time, yeah.
And then it's like, I've had 2 hours sleep, I've been broken, I've been fatigued, and now I have to start running. And I just remember literally 400 metres in, like, you know the start of the Ridden, obviously, like,
Yeah.
you go round the park, and then you get out of sight, and there's a bench at the bottom. And I was just like, I need to sit down, guys. Like, now that we're out of sight of the start, and everyone's sort of like,
oh shit,
it's just us now. And then I'm like, I'm gonna sit down here. And everyone's like, fuck, like we're not even a K in.
Yeah.
We got 50k to do still. And he sat down, and I was just like, yeah, sorry guys, this is it.
That was when Edwards had a plastic bag or something. Right?
The only bag.
Oh, peak nonsense. I love it.
Proper nonsense that
It
was.
was a great experience, all right. I mean, the fallout from it, from the injury, and then not being able to train, and it, like, even now today, and what that means, it's hard. But like, you go back and look at how lucky we are that we get to do this shit. Like, even
I keep saying it was one of the best weeks of my life.
oh,
Like,
it was up there. Like,
and having the community there and bringing everything together, and just that whole response to the whole challenge was just phenomenal.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if I hadn't just gone to the Divide, I would say yes. Do you know what I mean? The Divide was up there too, though. But yeah, it's life changing. Like, we're so fortunate to be able to do this stuff. And I know it's not easy, and things go wrong, but like, not everyone can do this stuff. And I'm not just talking about, you know, people being as fit or whatever. Being able to get fit is beyond so many people, and we need to see that we are. It's such a privilege, like.
Yeah.
And
In our circle, it's so easy to take it for granted because
yes,
we're surrounded by people that all do this nonsense.
yes.
And then it's like,
you meet people on the street, and they've given the big one about the nonsense you're doing. But we're surrounded by people, and no matter who we are, that we always know someone who's does more, runs it faster. Like, I follow Andy Glaze. I think you follow him too, and David Goggins, but Andy Glaze especially. And I'm like, I want to do that. What a privilege. And I'm sure he does the same, you know, to whatever the goat guy is. The guy who's doing the cycling and running up all of the peaks. There's always somebody that, like, you think, oh, but I wish I could do. But you look at your peers, your family. It's nonsense. Like, nobody should be doing what we're doing. It's an absolute privilege. I forget. Like, I hate the concept of being a legend, because I'm not. I'm an everyday guy, but I'm clearly not an everyday guy insofar as not everybody gets to do this kinds of stuff. It's lush. But if everyone had the privilege of my time and life and support situation, then they could. That's what I want to inspire people to think what they could do, even if it's going for just a 10-minute run. Move your body. That's what I want to do. But the idea of putting me on a pedestal, I don't like that. I feel uncomfortable with that. It doesn't jive. And that was always my worry when I first came on this podcast, is I'm blowing my own trumpet. But I have come to terms with maybe stuff that I do is very special, but it's a privilege special. It's not necessarily any special talent I have.
But I feel like the people that do get inspired by it, obviously, like, they're looking up to you, but not in a way of being like, you're special, like there's something different about you. They're the people that sort of think that are the sort of people that think it's beyond them, and they're like, that's too far out of reach, like I could never. And they're starting to like put that gap between you and them by putting a label on you.
Yes.
Whereas like, I'm inspired by you, but I know that,
by you too,
yeah,
right?
but this is what I mean, like, we're on a level, and it's not like you're like looking up to me in the sense of like, oh, there's something special about him, he's different.
No,
it's just like,
you're just like me.
yeah.
There's something wrong with you.
And yeah, but you get it. And it's like, the people that are inspired by you aren't looking at you and being like, there's something different about him which makes him this legend. It's like, he's putting himself out there, and like, I want to do things like that. And then they're getting inspired, and they're like using that as motivation.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's 100% what I want.
But that's not going to be everyone.
No,
this is the thing, and you've just got to realize that like those people, that's almost like your niche, your target audience.
Yes.
Like, if you were selling something, that's how you would see it. Like Rich is massively inspired by you.
But he inspires me too, right?
This is what I mean. But like, he's not looking up to you and being like, oh my god, that's like.
Like I listened to his episode because I was driving yesterday, and I listened to Luke's episode. In fact, I was listening to Luke's episode as I was dealing with Pepto-Bismol on the beach in the Serona. And like the way these guys can articulate like ways that we deal with things, ways that we feel, and like just understanding their psyche, understanding where Rich is coming. Like, a lot of his story has similarities to mine, and completely understand that, you know, I'm doing 40 miles this year. Next thing I'm doing a slam. Next thing I'm doing 100 miles. Completely understand that. But like his ability to articulate what's next and where people's feelings in, and talking about recovery. Sometimes I just waffle, right? But I think I deal with all of these things. It's just I come off, I listen to these podcasts, and like even Jenk's most recent episode where he's talking about feeling like he's got no friends. 100%, like not got no friends, but like not feeling close to people. 100%, I feel like for years I'd come to races and think I'm just an outsider, and even now today I have a certain amount. Like these podcasts, you get like levels of people's psyche. They let you see a little bit inside them. It makes you think I'm not as weird as I thought I was, or maybe there's lots of us weirdos. Whatever, I found my tribe, and certainly this podcast. You know me. Since you asked me to come on your podcast last year, and I never heard of you, too, I've listened to every episode now. I'm not up to date, but I have listened to the whole back catalogue. Consider this brand to be self-identified, and I stick my flag into this brand. It identifies me being able to do any kind of nonsense whenever I want to do any kind of nonsense. Like when somebody springs a flipping performance test on you with less than 24 hours notice. It's just nonsense, and I love it. Like we wouldn't have found each other, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's fantastic. Yeah, sorry, I'm waffling now.
That's fine. I love it. I'm glad you brought up the testing as well, because like, I loved the testing yesterday. That was awesome.
It was awesome. I didn't expect it to go as well. Not from a performance point of view, just in a pure joy point of view. I was hurting going into that yesterday, and I put everything into it.
I've done testing before, and it's never gone that well. This time I like cherry picked who I wanted to test with, and there's like different reasons, whether it's like because they've just finished an event, or like their performance stuff. Like you've just come back from Divide, Joe's just finished the Slam, Emily and Layla have just finished their Deadly Dozen, and it's like everything's just lined up nicely, and I'm like, these are the sort of people that I can see like meshing together and maybe sort of like live the brand the most.
Yeah, fair. But like,
And it just
obviously we missed
worked.
Andrew as well.
Yeah.
But like, every one of them people, including myself, I got something from everyone. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's in different places doing different things. But like, what's the boy's name? Brent. Is it?
Blake.
Blake. Sorry. Like, I was talking to him, and he was clearly really good at lifting, and I was getting tips off him, and I was like, "Oh, is coach gonna dislike it? I'm getting bad tips off him." So I double check with you, and like, he's helping me out, and like, this is great stuff. And then I'm watching, like, Joe. She's terrible for following her plan by all accounts. She's out today doing a session because of yesterday, and it's like, yes. And I'm straight away, my grip strength wasn't the best, and I climbed. My grip strength should be the best. Now, obviously, Blake's can't lift him more than me, so he's gonna. No, I'm not happy with that. After I bet, and I'm motivated, but it's just lush.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. This is why I've been so specific with who I invited yesterday.
Yeah.
Because before I've had it where, like, even though, like, I joined in last time I did testing, and people were making comments being like, when I would, like, then push towards my max, which, like, everyone saw yesterday, like, after Blake's deadlift, and, like, he failed a rep, and then, like, I just racked the bar.
Yeah.
Because I know I've got that strength in me. When I was then, like, doing my 1 rep max last time, I was having, like, people there making comments being like, oh, you're just showing off. And it's like, that's not the mentality I want of the testing. Like, we've come together as a group, and it's like, no matter who was lifting yesterday, like, you had Blake doing, like, a 160 deadlift, and everyone's being like, oh, yeah, come on, Blake. And then you had, like, Joe doing, like, a 60 kilo, and everyone's still getting behind her, and it's like, that's what you want. You want that support no matter who you are and matter what.
I wanted everyone to do their best, right?
Yeah.
And I was motivated for everyone to do their best, and like, that was easy for you.
Yeah.
You could do more than that.
And it's not that because this is where I see the difference in, like, what I'm trying to create versus, like, what I've done before is, like, we've had, like, the people that are good sort of, like, looking down and being like, oh yeah, well, that's only that's fine, like, they'll be all right. And then you've then got the flip side of that, of the people that aren't lifting as much being demotivated, being like, oh, why are you showing off, like, you're making me feel bad. And it's like, there was none of that.
No, there
and
wasn't.
It was just perfect day testing.
And if you look at, like, people's results, like, people were stronger at different things as well. It was lush, right? It's like, yeah, like, I'm competitive, right? So I wanted to be best at everything, and I knew I wasn't going to be, but I still wanted to do, and that motivates me to try my best, right? If there had been, say, there had been nobody anywhere close, would I have tried my best? But like, if it's somebody just underneath you, that's going to push you to try harder. And if it's somebody like doing their max, and you'll try for your max, and I did. I went further. Well, you've seen the results, and everyone did a bit of that, right? It was lush.
Yeah.
The box jump was a bit weird though, because I got no sense of how everyone else had done at that. And the other thing is, like, we're all different body weights, right? So it's not a like for like, right? It's a percentage of body weight too, right?
Yeah.
And height as well for the box jump. It was all, we were competing with ourselves, but we all motivated each other. It was great, and we just met each other, right? Most of us didn't know each other.
Yeah, that was the cool thing. It's like,
it was cool.
Obviously, like, you knew and Joe.
Yes.
And then knew Joe as well. Layla hadn't met. Well, obviously Layla knows because it's her mum.
She should.
Yeah, she'd hope she knows her. But then, like, Layla's not really met. She hadn't met any of the others, I don't think. Blake hadn't really met any of them other than potentially in the last testing. Nia was, like, fresh off a drive from uni, so she's never been in that gym before, let alone met any of the people from the gym. And it's just like, yeah.
She was a savage as well. Everyone was a savage. I loved it. I loved like, the helping each other with straps and grips. Everyone just pulling together. And then I think by the time we were doing the bench, we were all solidified. Everyone was committed to everyone doing the best that they can.
Yeah.
The only bad point was the pull-up thing where you stitched me.
That just wasn't going to be the test. It was going to be a 1 rep max pull-up, like added weight or with assistance and stuff, and
for
belt
me,
broke.
though,
So
all the climbing videos. That's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Is that? And I'd never done that, so I thought of it as a warm up for that because I was getting excited that I was going to try something. I didn't think I'd do any weight, but I was excited to try. And then you could have done more than that. What do you mean? There's a warm up in it.
Yeah, no, we ended up doing for reps, but
even then, like, I didn't think I could do that many. The fact I did it for a warm up is, for me, it's like flipping hell. I've come a long way this year.
yeah,
I do 3 bad form ones at the start of the year, and like you throw in my body up, some kind of wiggling going on, and they were decent form ones.
5 good ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't even go into the world if I'm struggling. Like,
Yeah.
Which means, who knows? But now I'm almost motivated to just train hard, just to, yeah.
I'm so excited to do testing again now, and it's like, yeah, probably January.
I was
getting the same group together and just being like, okay, like.
Yeah, January's good shout. Hopefully I get this operation and I've started to train after this operation by then.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, 100%. Is there anything we haven't discussed that you want to discuss, man? There's so much happened over this last year.
Yeah, like, you didn't even bring up, like, Dusk Till Dawn, or...
Yeah, I didn't bring up Dusk Till Dawn. And that was a bit of a mad race for me, right?
Let's go through Dusk Till Dawn, just because, like, I obviously know the story, but...
Yeah, so when was Dusk Till Dawn?
That was 10 days before my 6.
So it must have been July or August, maybe?
End of July, yeah.
End of July. You'd convinced me to do it.
Did I?
Yeah, you posted on you posted on your Facebook, on your Instagram story. Anyone want to do this with me? And I could be convinced. I messaged you, and then I messaged Kev and I said, Will might have talked me into thinking about this, and he said, check your email. You knob.
Sorry.
So then I was in for that, and I can't even remember the run up to it other than being there. Half-assed as well. I don't think I'd prepared anything. I had some kit in the boot of the car, and it was raining as well, wasn't it? Or at least
just miserable.
It didn't start miserable, and then Kev come up with this nonsense flipping. I hated it. This, and I know you enjoyed it, but this nonsense predicament where based on whether you're an odd or even card, which direction you ran the loop.
No, I hated that.
Yeah, because we were like, you weren't racing then. We were racing because we were on the same loop.
Yeah.
Everyone on the other loop had an advantage, and it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same, right? Because everyone completed an even number of laps. Did you do 5 or did you do 4 laps?
I did 4.
Yes, you did 4. So we did 2 of the worst laps. We started on a worst lap, and we went straight into wet feet, which made it harder. And they never had to contend with that, right? So, I'm not, because it was a cool dynamic, but it would have been cool dynamic if it had if there had been wet feet for them in the same sort of breath. There.
I like the gimmick of it.
I like the gimmick of it, but like
when you're looking into because we were both trying to perform on that.
Yes.
And it's hard to judge performance when there's a gimmick like that.
Yes. And so the race starts and I lead the race out of the thing because everyone seems to be fucking about, and I look down at my watch and we're doing 4-minute kilometers out downhill, and I know it's downhill, but it's from a standing start. We're doing, so I'm like, all right, well, I thought I was fucking about, but this is really fucking about. So I ease back to still 4.5-minute kilometers, and I see you go into the woods, and I see Lee and that other guy's name, go that way, and Richard's behind us. I don't know where it is, and then we go straight into flipping bogs and shit. And my plan was always to test myself, but never. I don't know. I didn't really have a plan. I was just going to go as fast as I can, see what I was performance-wise. But I'm happy I was running that fast, right? And after last night's performance on the mile, maybe I'm running faster than I think that I am, right? So yeah, and then we get you run up to the turner point, which Jenks and somebody else was in. Can't remember the guy's name. Milo, is it? That's, I think,
Andrew.
Yeah, I think
Milo's the dog.
Dog name, yeah. Are up there, and obviously you've seen people on the other direction. So I've seen Lee and Dee come past me, and then I get to the gate, and I can see you as well. So like me and you were almost in touching, well, not touching distance, but I can see you. Like, I'm quite happy with my performance at this juncture, and then I'm coming down there, and I can see then Rich coming towards me. So I'm like, I'm in third place here. Flip back up, no, fourth place at
Fourth
that
place,
jump.
yeah.
So then we'd finished lap 1, and Lee said, "That's me. I'm only here for 1 lap," and I'm like, "I'm on the podium here." So when I do the next lap, and I keep that place, and then I go and change my shoes, and then I have a bit of a meltdown and decide, no, that's enough for me. But performance wise, I'm racing like prize worthy. And I think I just got myself to an ultra. I don't actually know how far I went. I did like 3 laps, maybe I did
3 laps, yeah.
Yeah, and then that was me. I went home. I was wet. I think I had family commitments, but it's all excuses. Ultimately, I gave up. I think I seen you in a bit of a hell of a tiz. I was quite worried about you, but it was all pretty cool. I loved it. I loved it, and I also loved my performance. But yeah, I think that was a sign. Ooh, you're getting quite fit. But I also, like, I'm talking about all the positives. There was also time I was on the start line of the divide and said, you haven't actually done any, much mileage in between these races, and I don't, right? I carry but I'm starting to think, maybe I'm not enough for a 200 mile at this point in the stages. You go through all of these demons, right? And I think that's where people overtrain, right? Is where they don't believe in the work, and then they start go, I got to go out and do these paranoia miles, and then they smash themselves to pieces. Yeah, it was a great race. It was nonsense, and I did all right. I was at the point the end for once. So yeah.
Yeah. It was really wicked. Like when I was going out for my second lap, and I knew I had gone out fast. Like my first lap was my fast lap. I had like pushed that lap, and I was like minutes, if that, behind Lee. And it's like to be that close to Lee.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing well here.
Yeah. And he was pushing out the front as well, right?
Yeah, and then to see you like not even 10 minutes behind me, I was like, oh, come on, blood.
I was feeling.
I was excited, and like you was like buzzing at that point.
I was buzzing.
And then like to see,
I think it was
obviously I saw Rich not long after, and then I saw Rose as well.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is just like all of my mates. Like Rose is my sponsored athlete. Rich is like one of my best mates. You're one of my athletes and one of my best mates. And Lee's there as well. And like, I was just like, this is just like my favourite people.
All doing well.
All doing well with me. And I'm like, we can really push each other here. This is going to be wicked.
I definitely did that on the off, right, for me. I was like, even seeing you, I was like, yeah. I didn't, like, I never thought I was going to take over you, but like seeing the carrot of trying to stay as close to you. And it's weird, right, because we didn't know, because we were doing a different lap, we didn't know how that translated when they went the other way.
Yeah.
Because I do think their lap is easier first half, right, and second half, but you got no sense of, if we had done that at the same effort level the other way around, where would we have been? What would it have changed? You got like all these questions, and then I undone myself mentally, but it's alright.
All I knew is like I flew that first lap, but how good I felt. Like I was like zone 2 for a lot of it, and like to come up like that close to Lee.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how am I finding this easy? Like that was when I noticed myself. I was like, my training's paid off here.
Yeah, it's less.
It was the second half of the race where I was like, okay, like everything's gone tits up. Everything I thought I prepared is like gone to shit. And
but the weather didn't help for that, right? Also, it is a different dynamic going straight into darkness, because it was dark almost immediately, right? We did one lap in mostly light, and then it was dark. The wet, and like it wasn't an A race for any of us, right? It was always, for all of us, it was a bit of nonsense training race, because most of us had only signed up like 2 or 3 months before. I know that is, you don't plan your year around that, right? Or we hadn't planned our year. You could. It was lush. It was a good test of where all of us was, but it was also absolute nonsense.
yeah.
He's doing it again next month, right? He's doing doing it through winter. Like I saw people racing there today, and they're like, "Why are you racing?" It's like, my season's over. You can, like, haven't I done enough? When does it stop?
This is what I was saying to Rich, because he hadn't signed up originally.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to be done after the slam's done. I'm going to take my foot off. And then like I saw him the other day, and he was like, oh yeah, like I'm doing this. And I was like, what happened to taking your foot off? And then he was like, oh yeah, and then I was thinking of doing this other winter race, and I was like, mate, like at some point you do need to,
Yeah,
like I know people know that I'm one for pushing
Yes.
constantly. I know I need to take the foot off sometimes, whether that's like distances and events or just pace and expectations.
yeah, expectations. I think because like I treat now as the training block for the season where you can get like consistent training in for next season. But I will do events, but they will be training runs. They won't, and I
Yeah.
treated that like a training run more than it.
Yeah.
So, but this right now, at this juncture, I don't want to be running 30, 40 miles today. I want to have a bit of a rest. You know, I want to do 100 miles around my roundabout, but that again is not, if my expectation is, if it falls off, it falls off. I'm not pushing myself. Like I probably won't even tell anyone that I'm doing it, other than you, because you told me I have to. But do you know what I mean? The expectation for me of performance is not there. It's just something I want to do at some point, and this is the time of the year where it's going to fit. Because I want to do 100 miles around the roundabout, because 45 wasn't enough. Got to do 3 figures, right? And I'd like to go quite fast around it. But if it falls off like it did in that race, then I'll come to terms with it. I've got no expectations. Whereas when I do an event that's part of my calendar, I want to perform. I want to complete it. I want to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
It's fine though. Like whatever makes people happy. I'm all for making people happy. That's the actual motivation, right? Try to make as many people happy as possible.
Yeah. You're doing a good job. Fun Bus is definitely testament to that.
Well, there's like splinter fun buses. Everyone are making their own now, which is even better. Like we're creating a movement.
And it's like, it used to just be like, oh, if you're with Plod, it's the Fun Bus. Like, that's what the Fun Bus is. But now it's like, we're organising Fun Buses, like we were saying with Em doing the rhythm. And like, I just, like, first thing I did was, because she was like stressing to me, being like, oh, well, what do I do for time? And like, I was like, just do it and Fun Bus it. And she was like, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, I'll message Plod. And I just put in the group chat, I was like, you free for a Fun Bus on rhythm? And you was like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just like, I just love that it's got to that point where it's like, well, we can just organise a Fun Bus for someone. And it doesn't even have to be you doing it.
No, 100%.
Like,
they can do it themselves once we understand what it is. It's like I said last time, right? It's about full value. The divide, me and Nick, in the end, took our foot off and decided to do it full value. But it was not easy full value, let me tell you. But it was full value. My cup is full now. I could finish my whole career, and I've completed it now. Like, there is no bigger thing. I want to go back and do it again, but I don't have to. It was amazing.
yeah.
If anyone can ever go over there and race it, like, I'd like to organise a school bus of us, more than a fun bus of us, because it is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you sold me on the Fun Bus from Edam. Like, because, like, you know what I'm like. I'm so competitive that I always want to be pushing my absolute limits. And
you could still have a fun bus pushing yourself.
Yeah, but, like, it was just different because I was always like, oh, like, I never want to, like, just, like, as much as I appreciate the whole full value system,
no, I understand.
I never wanted to be in that position myself. And then doing Edam, I was like, oh, I see.
Yes.
And then doing Rhythm the next day and, like, having all that expectation stripped from me because I'm injured.
You couldn't do it, yeah.
And I was like, well, I have to fucking get through this anyway. And then having the sort of people I did with me on Rhythm, I was like,
they made a fun
this
bus
this
for
is
you.
a fun bus.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing now. And I kept, like, referencing it, and I was like, I'm going to be the one that puts on the music. And when I did, like, yeah. But, like, I then did Abergavenny Free Peaks, like, a month later, and I was, like, guiding it with adventure athletes. And there were points where people were struggling. And I was like, this is where the Fun Bus comes out.
100%.
And I was doing what you were doing. And it was like, I was going around getting a song request off everyone. And then I was running back and forth because, like, we'd, like, split into, like, 2 mini groups. And I would, like, when someone's song from up front came on, I'd, like, run up to them so they get to experience it. And then I'd drop back. And
Lush.
I was just, like, constantly, I'm just like, this is a Fun Bus now. And it doesn't have to be an ultra. It doesn't have to be a big event. Like,
No, it doesn't.
when
It could be a park run.
so one of my clients came on Running Punks worst weather to come on, and we went over the Garth, and it was horrendous, and she was really struggling. I didn't know because like I was off just having fun, and then I got told, and like I dropped back and stayed with her, and we started going downhill, and I'm like, I'm gonna fun bus this, and I started just singing, and she was just like, what the fuck? And I was like, well, this is a fun bus now, like
Absolutely.
we're fun busing it. It's a 10k.
Like,
Fuck it, let's go.
when you got to make noise for bears and you don't know the words to songs, but you need to make words for songs because the other guy is saying the same thing over and over again, it bores you. You would sing some songs with some silly, ridiculous lyrics. I think my fun bus got a new level now, a new setting.
The ultra fun bus. Oh yeah, it's just it's a completely different experience. Like racing and fun busing.
It is, and you can have both. And like that's the thing for me for 200 miles is you can't keep your foot on the pedal without a certain amount of needing pepping up. And you all go through the different stages too. And having other fun bus people to help you when you're not in there, it just buoys you, right? It makes it's a coping mechanism, and it makes like you said, it was a great experience, once in a lifetime experience, because of that little nonsense.
Yeah.
Like. Remember me moshing on the Howam to
Oh my God.
coming down. Like, it was fucking brilliant. I loved it.
Howam was like, that was one of the best days, like, ever. It's probably like the best ultra I've done.
Well, it was banging. It was a good day out, that was.
It was hilarious. Having, like, that moment at the source of the River Severn.
Oh, yeah, with the
My God.
pole dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
Slut drops.
Slut drops. We had fucking Paul, who's like, Paul's a funny one because he's either like completely like deadpan or he's like completely ridiculous.
But he's like,
and he
almost...
was so deadpan at the start, and then we get to the source, and he's like holding on like a fucking koala, and I was just like, "What is going on?" I love this.
Yeah, I felt like I got to know him in that way.
Oh yeah.
We made friends for life on that experience. It's just wild. I love how Paul is deadpan though, and he's taking the piss completely, and he's being deadpan, and the other way around. How's he going, then, boys? Like,
Yeah. Oh, he's class.
Yeah, 100%.
And the thing is, like, if you don't know him and you see him on Instagram being that like really upbeat, like, right, boys.
How's he going, like?
And then you meet him in person, but he's like in that like completely like,
Stoic,
yeah. Then you're just like, oh, he's just putting on a thing, and it's like, no, you just need to see that switch.
Yeah.
And like you can't ever predict it. It will just happen.
I think we all got it as well, right? Like there is a certain bit, like the fun bus itself is performative, right? You haven't always got it. Like I haven't got the spoons to be like that all of the time, especially over 200 miles. It's like just
for me, like it just, and I'd never like. I hadn't experienced this for years, thinking about it. It's like, that fun bus, especially when we was like on Howam for me, that was just like moments of complete release of like, I don't have to worry about bills, I don't have to worry about work. It's just that release of everything, and it's like, I'm just going to be in this moment, and it's just that like pure joy that you get from doing that.
Yes.
And it's just like the perfect sort of thing.
You forget everything, right? Not just bills. Like you forget what other people think about you. You don't care about all that shit. You just have it as pure joy for the sake of joy's sake. Like, I think I was dancing to the Prodigy on that table and you were running out. I watched a video after and I was like, what a bell end. But at the time, I'm just enjoying life, and it's a joy to be there. It's all a joy. Now I look at it like, oh no. What
See,
a bell
I
end.
love that. Like, coming, because like we were running together, and then you just like went ahead like 100 meters. Like you weren't that far ahead of me, and then I just turn a corner where there was just a bush, and you're just on a bench dancing, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, how did he even have time to get on the bench, let alone to like start raving on it?
Well, it was the first downhill right towards the boardwalk, so I was loving running downhill, and a Prodigy's on, and I'm dancing while I'm running, and I'm thinking, why am I doing this on my own? Everyone else should have a bit of this joy. So when I get up on the bench and start dancing, and then Jenks comes along and starts filming around, everyone else is, I'm like, this is just pure joy, you know? Don't even need alcohol, like don't need drugs, just fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, you don't need the social lube, you just need to not care anymore.
Yeah, it's just nice to have that, because like we just grow up and we forget that we can do that, I think.
Yeah, we do.
And it's like, even me, like, I'm like quite laid back, and like, I know that I'm not like a normal person, and I don't pretend to be. Sometimes I want to be, but like, I know I'm not.
Sure.
And even I like forget that life isn't that serious.
No, it's not. Tell you that, pink man, and then you look in the mirror every day and remind yourself you don't take it that serious.
But yeah, just that's what I've got most from community and ultras, because like, I used to turn up to ultras and race them, even if I came last. Like, in my head, I'm racing, and like, it's still a miserable experience. As much as it's like, you get the achievement and that sort of satisfaction.
Yeah, you could get it. Can be.
It can be both.
It can be type 2 fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a joy because of type 2 fun, but I know, like, like, I switch off some of the misery, but I know what you mean. It's like,
it's just a lot of like, it's how your mindset is towards it, and my mindset was always like, oh, challenge, complete challenge, get satisfaction from that. And it's like, even like my personal challenges, it's like, I'm gonna make this miserable because that's the challenge, and you can't have fun during it, and like, you're just in that mindset because that's how the world is generally. It's like, well, there's a task, you complete it, you get a reward.
It has to be hard as well, or it's not worth having in the first place. You have to have tried hard.
But like, this year has really taught me, like,
you can have nonsense and try hard though.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, Howam, when I was doing Howam with you guys, and I was fucking leaving you guys for dust at the start.
Yeah.
That was just because I was I was enjoying it,
Yeah.
and I was like, I would get to like those gates where like those like farm gates with like the different rungs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would just like jump over them.
Yeah,
I would put a foot on like one of the rungs and just like completely leap over them. And like, then I would hear like a couple of minutes later the gate opening and closing, and I'm like, nah, this is fun. And I'm like leaping over everything. And I logically, you know, like, shouldn't be doing this. I got another 4 ultras after today, and it's like, but this is fun, and I'm loving this, and I'm just gonna keep loving it.
And here we are telling a tale, and you could have not done that, and you could have had no story to tell about it because you just you just did what you.
And the cows, oh my god, that was the best moment, because like, we was running and like, they chased us a bit, but they all stopped.
Oh, it's the bull.
And like, we walked, and then like, you guys ran ahead. I stopped to like tie my laces or something. And then I was like, oh, I've got to put a pace on to like catch him up here. And for some reason, I was like, I'm just going to check on the cows as I'm running. And I look back, and they're coming through, because we had like gone through a field, and like, they'd come through with me. And I was like, fuck. Like, but I was laughing like my head off, sprinting to catch up with you, just being like, the cows are coming. And then Joe starts screaming. Jenks is trying to get his camera out. Paul's like just way ahead of everyone anyway.
I was at the front though, right? Because I'd run through.
And then like, I'm just laughing my head off, like overtaking everyone, and then I just see you there standing like arms wide, just going, move.
Move back, and
the next thing I know, you run towards him, and I was just there laughing my head off. Oh my god, that was like the best moment of the 6th for me.
It's just nonsense.
Pure nonsense.
It was great.
That sums up the Howam experience. Like,
yeah,
my god,
there's still loads of micro moments that.
There's so many.
Yeah.
From the whole 6 for me, like, as you can imagine, like, as you do from Divide, like, there's so many things that you just won't.
I'll sit there at home later and think, oh, I forgot about that on the Howam. I forgot about that. I forgot that about stage 5 on the Divide. I watched back the other podcast, which I told you I never would do, but I did. It's like I missed so much out, and I could have said so much about this, but it's just life, innit? It's like,
yeah. But I find there's like a really weird like beauty in that, and like, especially if you tell the same story to different people, not only do they take something different from it because what stands out for them, but like, you will tell it differently.
Yeah, you remember something. You remember something you should have said, and you say it to the next person.
Yeah.
And
then you might miss other bits out.
You misremember, and the Chinese whisper. I do love the humor, because it's not lying. It's just how stories go, right? There is no, like, it's even your perception of what happened is different to what actually happened, right?
Yeah.
And it's lush. I love it. It's a microcosm of life. I love it.
Yeah. It's just I find it so cool that there's that different version of you that everyone sees. Everyone's got a different version of you, and they all know like different nuggets of your life.
Yes.
like no one has like the same exact view of you because they don't know the same things about you, and even if you've told them like the exact same things,
But they're also not the same person with their life experience
Yeah.
perceiving that. Like that in itself changes the
yeah.
perception.
This is why, like, going back to what we were saying earlier about doing that giant podcast with every person that did the divide, it's like bringing that together is just like,
Yeah. Or
but that's just life. That's the intricacies of life. And I think we all get caught up in our own lives that we forget that everyone's life is as complex as ours.
oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
then it's like when you realize that and you walk down the street and see how many people there are, and then you're just like, oh my God, like,
yeah, like everyone's got that original thought of I am the main character and everyone else is like an NPC in that world. But everyone feels like that, and you have to understand that in itself. And they've all got their life, and they're all perceiving it differently. The same world. How the hell does the world work? Oh, here we are in 2025.
yeah, it's a great thought experiment, and I encourage people to think more like that. Not
Yeah.
like you can't think like that 24/7. Like that's not realistic.
no,
but like every now and then, just sit back and just
Yeah.
people watch and realize like try and piece their lives together without knowing anything about them and just being like, well, like what do they do for work? Like who do they know? What experiences do they have? When was the last time they went on holiday? Where did they go? What sports do they do? What did they do when they were younger? And it's just like,
Yeah.
do that for every single person you see, and you're just gonna be like mind blown.
Mind blown, and you're not even close. And you can never be close, even if they told you it'd be wrong.
Yeah.
We're all telling a version that we're telling ourselves. It's just based on perceptions of what you want to believe right now, right? It's mad. But now we're getting well into philosophy. And I'm surprised you love the Stoics and we haven't pulled any of that out yet.
No, we haven't. Yeah, I love philosophy. Just thought experiments.
Curiosity in it. All like even the nonsense and the fitness stuff that we do is all about trying to discover, to learn. Like it's just lush.
It's just our method of like actualizing philosophy at the end of the day. Like that's our way of trying to discover more about the world. Like everyone's got it different. Some people like to sit and write. Like I can't do that.
But to the point we've made, the people you meet on these adventures, I almost like people tell you more about themselves that I think that they'd ever be comfortable even telling their partners, like because you're tired and you're almost trying to fill the space. You get to know things about people that I'm sure, like I've spoken about things to people that I would never normally divulge, and I've certainly got to know people that would take years to get to know so much about people because you're almost in this tired state that, like we've all you're stood next to them and they're telling you a life story. And I know you've said on many of these podcasts you never run at the same paces to find out these stories or run with anyone, but that's absolute bollocks on the 6 and 6 because we did it. We shared it as much as that. You and Paul shared it as much as that, which I observed. It was definitely happening there, and that to me is the difference between 50 miles and 100 miles. When you get to 100 miles, even when you're racing, there's a certain amount of conversation that happens.
Yeah.
And you had it through the 6 and 6 because of how much of it you were spending with people.
Yeah, 100%. And like that's why like this year's like changed my perspective, because every race I did, well, I'd only done 3 ultras before this year, and there was one point where I'd run with Owain. That's how I met Owain, who does the trophies for the slam.
You seen him today? He's at the Kev race.
Yeah. But like that was more him. Like he saw me struggling and he sort of stayed with me. But like I'd never had that.
Yeah.
Like I was never like that person to initiate. Like I'd overtake people or they'd overtake me. I'd never then try and like match their pace and have a chat. I was just in my head like, race. This is a race. You go your pace and that's that.
Well, I struggle to do that anyway. Like to have that conversation with people. If people opened up to me, then I can start to do it. But it like I said before last year, I'd go to races and just stand feeling like an idiot. And I think Luke said it. I'd go and sit in the car until the race started because I'd feel awkward about that. And there's like this Happiness Lab podcast that I'm listening to, and it talks about like introverts and extroverts. They set them like a challenge that they have to go and talk to a stranger on a tube or on a like a train journey or whatever, and then they interview them before and after. Every one of them is introverts and extroverts. They set this challenge that they have to have a 1 minute conversation with a complete stranger, and the expectation of how it'll go from the introverts is there's no way I want to do it. I feel absolutely uncomfortable about it. But then the improvement and how well it goes and happy they feel, introverts more than the extroverts feel happier that they've had this conversation with a complete stranger, even though before they said there's no way that I want to do this, I hated the whole idea, I feel uncomfortable with it. Never did any of them say that was a bad idea and I wish I hadn't done it. And I've taken that on board, and I've, like, in Canada, started to talk to people in shops, and I hate it. I'm scared. I'm out of my mind with worry and like social anxiety about it. But I've got loads of these experiences with finding out about people that I'll never see again. And what difference they make at I'm a bell end and they find out what kind of knob I am? It doesn't matter. It's brought me joy, and I think same to you. Talk to flipping people. Like, it does. It absolutely is making a difference. Being social with people works.
You've seen me at start lines of events now, haven't you? Like, I'm going
It's
around.
hard. It's hard now though. Like, people know us, right? People come to us, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Coming on this podcast has helped me with. But like, even outside of that comfort zone, I'm trying my best now, and it's paying off.
Yeah. Awesome.
This has been a hell of a podcast. I want flipping heck.
Jeez. We'll wrap it up there. We could talk all day. I know we could, because we did in that shed. So, yeah, we get in some wild topics, but
yeah, it's been a joy, man.
Yeah, it always is. I know people are excited for this podcast to come out. This is probably going to be the last of the bonus episodes.
So a Brucey bonus episode.
Yeah, just there was because I've obviously got my backlog of episodes, so I've got like so many people that I've recorded, and then part of it is I don't want to like record this and be like, well, I've still got 8 episodes to release, so like this won't come out until like December, because then it's like it's just anticlimactic for both me and the guest, just being like, oh, it's a while before it comes out.
Yeah, I understand, but I'd be alright with it. But I'm sure that you want to get it out.
So there's part of that, but then there's also like I've had some. I'm excited for all my episodes, but then I've been really excited to release 3 episodes, and that was Jake, who I released Friday. Yesterday.
To that yet.
Yeah, so I released that yesterday.
Yeah.
Because he first came on 2 years ago, and he hadn't done anything, but he wanted to do these 3 challenges: run a marathon on a frozen lake, climb the Matterhorn, and row across the Indian Ocean.
I listened to that episode.
Yeah, and then 2 years on, he's done it, and I was like, I'm so excited to release this, because like it's the first time someone's came back on, like never having done something, and now they've got that same thing to talk about.
Yes.
And then there's my one that's coming out, well, a week before this one is released. So
I'm excited to I've seen
the reverse podcast
snippets from that.
And then there's this one, because like obviously like this is your journey's been very intertwined with mine this year.
Yes.
And
might continue next year too.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And I'm just like excited to like be like, well, this is part of the journey, and like I'm just really excited that it's all gone well. And
I'm excited for the reverse podcast, because I wanted to do one, and I've tried to do a little bit of that towards it, because I did a big monologue, but like I don't think you don't talk about as much as of yourself and some of the stuff, and I know you have, and there's been, but like people don't go back through the back catalogue like I have.
Yeah.
And I like the nuance of the 6 and 6. Like, I think the whole community was invested, but like not everyone knows these little micro stories, right?
I don't even get into the micro stories.
Well, we have
we got a few out here.
Yeah.
I did start writing blogs, but I stopped pretty quickly.
I can't do writing, so
yeah, fair. I think I was going to do a blog a day where I was going through the pre-6. A blog for each of the 6, and then a post, and I think I got to the Howam, and then I've like left it.
It's tough for.
So I did 3, and then was like, yeah, I'm done.
I wanted to, you know that you see these videos. This is me before I have any pints. This is me after 1 pint. I wanted to do that at every checkpoint, and I did it at the start. This is me at the start of the divide. I forgot on checkpoint 1, and the boys reminded me. I went back and done it, and I bloopered in and did it right, and then I never did it again. Forgot completely. So I understand. It's like it's a certain mental load. It'd be cool if I did it, but like the 10% videos used to be like, now it's just part of my DNA, and I do them. Everyone looks forward to them, and everyone loves them, and other people do them themselves now. It's a great part of the journey, right?
I was gonna do it like that before and after thing on when I was doing the Snowdon 24 because
Yes.
I was like, how many laps am I going to do? And I was like, this is me at the start. This is me on lap 1. And then
Yeah.
after the first lap, they called the race.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, that's not happening.
I'd have forgotten though. It's like,
I probably would have.
Yeah, yeah.
I did actually forget because I was going to do it at the summit. And then I got like, I started coming down. And then I was like, oh, I haven't done my first video. And I was like, shit.
Which way is it? Up Clanberis and down Clanberis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can't believe they pulled that, but for safety reasons, got to look after people.
Yeah, everyone's got different opinions on it. I won't go into it, but yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, and donate to Sporting Mind, great charity. Get it done.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Adventure Athletes podcast. It was really cool getting to catch up with Plod and hearing all about his 200 miles across Canada. We get into like a few little bits as well outside of that, as you guys know. He does so much and it really is inspiring. If you guys want to keep hearing such inspiring stories as Plod, yeah, let me know. Keep sending guest requests through. Keep sharing the podcast. The more widespread we can get the podcast, the more I'm going to be able to keep doing it, because it is quite hard to keep on top of. These bonus episodes have really been a lot of extra work, even though it might not seem like it. And I would love to be able to get to a point where I can consistently release 2 podcast episodes a week. But for now, we're going to go back to 1 a week. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the podcast, guys, and I'll catch you at the next one.